Every day too. My throat is not allowing me to sing. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नाम नमस्ते वाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be with all of you once again. I think I was allotted Canto 2, chapter 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 those days. 1 to 4 those days, which we completed. Now this is a very long section, that's why I'm really fast looking at the watch. Because there are 5 chapters at the average of 1 chapter a day, hopefully. Because each chapter is very loaded with contents. And quite a few commentaries are also there. We'll try to see some of them. But Srila Prabhupada's purports are there and the prayers are there, the storyline is there. So it's not like at one time I took Daksha section for another batch. So one whole chapter was describing about Kailash Parvat. You just have to read it and relish it. How Kailash Parvat is the most beautiful place, you know, in the creation we can see. But here there's a lot of content, loaded contents. So we are immediately starting and not Sadgoswami Ashtakam we sang because we are Rupanugas, we are followers of the six Goswamis, especially in the renounced order of life. Srila Prabhupada, when he was asked that who should be our role models, or devotee Vrindavan asked what lifestyle we should live by, Prabhupada said just follow in the footsteps of six Goswamis. So that's why we sang Sadgoswami Ashtakam 2 verses. We'll sing 2 verses every day, and maybe last day we'll sing the whole verse. Also, my throat is somewhat in trouble. So I hope I can cope up with that. Hot water better. uh, so we are in third canto into chapter 13. So I will share the summary of this third canto so that we get into the mood, because in 1 month so much happens. Before 1 month we must have learned the chapter, other chapters. So a lot of gap comes and many things we tend to forget. So that's why I will share the summary aspect and then we'll see further. Sharing is not turned on. You can share. You can. So this is compiled by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, Canto 3 overview. Divided this third canto into 4 sections. 33 chapters are there in the third canto and divided into 4 sections. So the first part is meeting of Uddhava and Vidura. So 4 chapters are included in this section. And Parikshit Maharaj is asking question about what happened to Vidura, because he left Hastinapur before Kurukshetra war. So which all places he visited, which all people he met. So on the inquiry of Parikshit Maharaj, I'm sharing. Something else has happened. You are sharing? No, this is projected. Is it? Okay, whatever works. So, um, so Vidura Maitreya Samvad happens there. First Vidura goes and first he meets Uddhava. And then there's a description of how Uddhava goes in a trance. And Uddhava remembers and recalls all the pastimes of Krishna. It's a summary of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Uddhava remembers his interactions with Krishna and he goes in a kind of trance. But finally, when Vidura asks to instruct him, Uddhava refuses because it becomes Maryada Vyatigram, because Vidura is senior to Uddhava. And then he says that Maitreya Muni was also present when Krishna was giving us this, knowledge. So then Vidura travels to Haridwar, where he meets Maitreya Muni. No. So this Samvad, Vidura Maitreya Samvad, is happening in Hari ki Paudi in Haridwar. So Vidura goes there, and then there is a talk about Sarga and Visarga, the primary creation and the secondary creation. So there is a talk of creation in the second canto also, when Brahmaji is explaining to Narad Muni about creation. So all these creations, description of creation, there are subtler differences when Maitreya is explaining or when Brahmaji is explaining. And again, there will be a talk of creation in the fifth canto also, when the universal model will be demonstrated by Sukadeva Goswami. So if you want to know more details, you can refer to Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj's canto overviews are there. Each canto is spoken in summary, 2-3 hour lecture. So you get an overview of which kind of creation described here, which kind of creation described here. The differences in that. So there is a talk about Sarga and Visarga till chapter number 11. Sarga is being described, the primary one. And chapter number 12, the secondary creation is being described here. So in chapter number 12, the description is there about Brahmaji creating his sons. So Brahmaji, after creating the universe, then he wanted to populate it, because once you create apartment, you need people to book it and stay there. So that's the purpose. So he created the planetary system, so he want population to occupy them. So then he started creating. He created 10 sons from his own body. Like Narada came from a deliberation, Daksha came from his thumb, Marichi came. Like the 10 sons' name are described. But those 10 sons also were not very, very in the creation of 10 sons also we heard about 4 Kumaras were the first ones. And then four Kumara refused to assist Brahmaji in his service. And it's a controversial thing. Why did can a son or can a disciple refuse to obey the order? Only in the condition of choosing ashram one can refuse. The rest all one cannot refuse. In ashram one can explain one side. So because they were completely Vasudeva Parayana, Narayan Parayana, so they were not interested in any other thing. So Brahmaji became angry and Rudra came from between his eyebrows. And then Rudra started creation, which was not very helpful for the right purpose. So Brahmaji sends Rudra for tapasya and then creates other sons. So like that it is happening. And finally, in chapter number 12, we find that when Brahmaji deliberating how to increase the population, without his kind of conscious endeavor, one male form and one female form emerges from his body. So male form is called Swayambhu Manu and the female form is called Shatarupa. So they unite together and then they have a family of five, two sons and three daughters. And the rest of the third canto is describing about, you know, these daughters, especially the fourth canto. Third canto also Devhuti description there. But then Akuti, Prasuti, Devhuti, these three daughters are there. And then Uttanpan and Privrat. So about four, it is described in canto 3 and 4. About Priyavrat Maharaj, canto 5 starts, which is not between Vidura and Maitreya, it is between Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj now. So, Swambhu Manu and Shatrupa, they appear, and Swambhu Manu is inquiring from Brahmaji, what should he do? Brahmaji becomes very pleased. So, this is how the 13th chapter will begin. Chapter number 13 to 19 is entitled as Pastimes of Lord Varaha, how Lord Varaha appeared, and how he was delivered by Lord Varahadev. Hiranyaksha appeared and he was delivered by Lord Varahadev. So, chapter 13, appearance of Manu which was described previously. Now, Vidura is asking about what did Swambhu Manu do after getting his wife. And then further, he will ask the question uh, because the earth has gone into the Garbhoda ocean. So Lord Varahadev appears from the nostril of Brahmaji to lift Mother Earth. And in the process, he also kills Hiranyaksha. So that becomes the next question after chapter number 13, which Vidura asks, what is the reason in the battle between Hiranyaksha and Varadev? So then Brahmaji goes back of how Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born. And then the story of Diti and Kashyap Muni comes, how they united at a wrong time and then Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born. And then the Brahmaji approaches, the demigods approach Brahmaji. So the universe is filled with darkness. So then how Jai Vijay were cursed, that section will come. Brahmaji will describe that. So Jai Vijay being cursed, they come at Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And then Hiranyaksha, how he conquered the whole world, that is being described. And how Lord appears and delivers him, that is being described. So we will complete till chapter 17 in this section, in this slot. We have for 5 days, right? We have till Friday. So we will complete Krishna willing. So this is Pastime of Lord Varaha, and from chapter number 20 onwards, there is further Visarga is being described, and then in that the lineage of Swambhu Manu, the two sons, three daughters, so that is being described here. And then 25 to 33 are teachings of Lord Kapila to Devhuti. So it's a long canto with these four inbuilt in that. Now let us just see an overview of chapter 13. And after that, we will go verse by verse and recite some of the verses and discuss from the purports. So in this chapter 13, there are 50 verses. So these chapters are very long. Next chapter also has 50 verses. So how they are divided is this. In the first 4 verses, Vidura is inquiring about Swambhu Manu and is expressing his eagerness to hear about Swambhu Manu because he is a great devotee of the Lord. So that is being described in 4 verses. Then From 5 to 15 is the conversation between Brahma and Manu, which is very, very instructive. How Swayambhu Manu is so obliged to Lord Brahma and is very eager to fulfill all his instructions. So 10 verses describe that. And then 16 to 30 is the appearance of Varahadev. So Sweta Varaha is appearing in Swayambhu Manvantar, and Rakta Varaha. Sweta Varaha means the white board, and Rakta Varaha means the red board. So in Chakshusha Manvantar, red board appeared. Rakta Varaha Dev appeared. And Swayambhu Manvantar is the first one, Sweta Varaha appeared. But Vidura, while asking and Maitreya Muni while telling, is combining both of them. In the uh, Swayambhu Manvantara, it looks like that there was no killing of the demons. But in the Raktavara incarnation, the killing of Hiranyaksha took place. So he has combined both of them. So that is being described in 15 verses, how Varadev appears from the nostril of Brahmaji, how he starts growing, and then how the sages will offer prayer. Nilavara, not Raktavara. Nilavara is in Chakshasa Manvantara. That is being described. And 34 to 45 are the prayers by the sages. When Lord appears, there is compulsorily an offering of prayers. It's a part of receiving the Lord. Wherever Lord appears, even in the the busiest of the things may be happening, but if the Lord appears, everything will stop and they will offer prayer. In the Samudra Manthan Leela, Lord is appearing multiple times. But at least there are the few verses of prayer every time the Lord appears. Whether he appears as Ajita, whether he appears as Kurma Avatar. So in any form he may appear, he came multiple times. But in every form there is some prayer being offered to him. That's a part of receiving the Lord, to glorify him, to show our gratitude to him. Very noisy place. Our conference room was better, but it's for all of you have to walk long. It's too much noisy. So there are prayers by the sages from 34 to 45, 12 verses of prayers. And in the last, Lord is returning back and there is Falashruti. So these are the 5 sections in today's discussion. Now let us start with the discussion part. Okay, let us start the first one. We later may not recite all the verses, but recite something. Shri Shuka Uvacha Nishamya Vacham Vadato Mune Punyat Mam Nirpa Bhuya Papricha Kauravyo Vasudeva Kathadritaha. Somebody please read the translation.
Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear.
So, in Bhagavatam, at several places, eagerness to hear is being glorified. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the first canto, eagerness to hear is the first qualification to go back home, back to Godhead. Shravanam is the first vidhi. So that eagerness to hear is demonstrated by different characters in Srimad Bhagavatam. One devotee is inquiring, another devotee is explaining. So entire Bhagavatam can be seen in terms of Guhyam Akhyati, Prachati. That is why Narottam Das Thakur in that song says, Vichara kariya mane, bhakti rasa aswadane, madhyastha Shri Bhagavat Purana. That if you have to experience the rasa of love for the Lord, then Srimad Bhagavatam is Rasa Shastra. And that, what is the verse? Third verse which comes in Bhagavatam? Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam sukhamukad amrit dravya samyatam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam. So this is Rasamalayam. So all the rasas are present here, and these rasas are churned by the interaction of the devotees. When there is an eager devotee to ask question, papraksha, inquiring, and then another devotee is there to explain, then the nectar of Bhagavatam can be relished. And right from the beginning, this is the mood which is set. Right? The beginning, the first chapter is, what is the first chapter name? Questions by the sages. So that sets the territory, that sets the theme, that questions, Haribo. Yeah, welcome. Assembly is complete now. So questions by the sages. That is the first chapter. So it's a book of question answers, but about the divine subject matter, not ordinary subject matter. So, and then later on, the sages are asking the question, then Sutta Goswami is asking, Sutta Goswami is asking question. No, Sonakadi Rishi are asking question to Sutta Goswami. Yeah, Sonakadi Rishi to Sutta Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. So there are a lot of conversations happening, and here we are finding about Vidura Maitreya Samvad. Common theme is there in all of them. The inquirer is submissive and is willing to hear, willing for submissive oral reception. That is how Prabhupada describes Shravanam as submissive oral reception. And the person who is answering, he is also not proud of his knowledge. He is replying in parampara, and he has heard the knowledge from Sushrutam Satam. He has heard the knowledge in parampara that he's trying to explain. So that makes the combination very perfect. Krishna also says the same thing. Tad vidhi pranipatena pari prashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanena sattvadarshana. There's the right person who has heard from the right source, who has assimilated it by practice, and who is setting the right example. And the person who is inquiring is humble. He's taking a humble role and is willing to hear and inquiring for the sake of knowing thing, for the sake of understanding thing, not for the sake of any other reason. So because of this combination, then the spiritual knowledge gets transmitted. There's a submissive inquirer and there's a potent speaker. Then the circuit becomes complete. So here also he says Vasudeva Katha Adritaha. Adrita means that Vidura was eager to hear on the topics of the Supreme Lord. He adored to hear. The taste for hearing was there. The enthusiasm, the eagerness to hear was there. So this is a very, very important quality. Prabhupada already we quoted that. Eagerness to hear is the first qualification. So this is the test. As we spend more time in the process in the ashram or in Krishna conscious practice, are we becoming more eager to hear, or do we hear only out of ritualistic performance, only out of duty, only out of the rules that Bhagavatam hearing is a part of the program and it is I'm supposed to do that. If I'm given a choice, I will perhaps not hear. So this is very, very important. Nautpadya yadi ratim shrama evahi kevalam. That rati, the taste for hearing and chanting should come. All other things what we do in terms of services, in terms of organizational efforts, administration, everything else. If it is not bringing us to the platform where our eagerness to hear and chant is increasing, then we have to stop a bit, reflect, take guidance, and then again reorganize ourselves. Otherwise, we lose the very purpose, the goal we will lose. We may achieve something, but the ultimate goal of Rati for the Lord will not come. So it's very, very important, and each one of us individually have to see that we are moving in that direction of Vasudeva Katha Adritaha, that eagerness is hearing. Sometimes the situation may not allow us to hear, but our eagerness is more than the person who may be actually sitting, hearing, and sleeping because he is hearing out of ritualistic duty. So it may happen because of responsibility and service, we may not get so much time to hear, but eagerness is there. And as soon as we get a little time, we are reading, we are hearing, we are chanting. We are not wasting time. That's very important. Rajeshamu gives the example. He was going with a group of boys to Chapati to hear Madhav's class, and the train stopped at a place, and the person is getting so agitated. He's seeing why the train not moving, he getting off the bogie, and to see what has happened. Signal is there, not there. And when he reached by the time class was over, and he started crying. So Rajeshamu says, you actually heard the class because you have so much eagerness to hear the class. You actually understood the class. Somebody may be sitting in the class and sleeping. But your eagerness is so wonderful that you have actually understood the essence of hearing process. So Prabhupada says in the purport, the word adritaha is significant because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was never fully satisfied through continuing to hear those topics. So, adrata, there is a respect, there is adoration for that. Natural inclination. Just like we can see that we have developed a natural inclination for relishing prasadam, right? Last week we had a festival at Camp Temple, and for no other purpose, at no other time, so much number of devotees go to Camp Temple. But it was Jagannath Mahaprasadam feast, 56 items. So everyone was very naturally inclined. Everyone wrote the name. Otherwise, you don't get names. There are almost 45 or 50 devotees who went. So we can see that we have a natural inclination for honoring prasadam. We lose our dietary restrictions also. It's a natural inclination. Nobody needs to tell us that Prabhuji आज पूड़ी और छोला बना है. अब लेंगे क्या? लेंगे उसमें क्या पूछने के बाद. आज डोसा बना है लेंगे क्या? डोसा बना है हर दिन भाकरी लेते हैं लेकिन आज डोसा लेंगे. There's a natural inclination for that. We can relate to that. So that kind of natural inclination should hear. Somewhere Katha is going on, or spiritual master has given some class, Prabhupada's class is there, some speaker has come. Natural inclination, we want to hear about the Lord. He wanted to hear more and more so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental messages. This is a very significant thing. Radhanath Maharaj has given a whole lecture on what it means to be blessed by the transcendental message. This lecture, they don't do things mechanically, you can search and hear. This lecture is on this verse. Blessed by the message. How do you bless by the message? He explains. When we get blessed by the message of the Lord, then actually by that blessing, we lose material taste. Just like we say, ना प्रभु जी आशीर्वाद दीजिए, मन अनर्थ दूर हो जाए, भगवान के प्रति थोड़ा आकर्षण बढ़ जाए. So similarly, when we get blessed by the message of Bhagavatam, then what happens? Then we get detached from all the wrong things, detached from the wrong impressions, and we become attracted to the Lord and His glories and His devotees. That is a blessing which the message can give us. Transcendental message can bless us to become detached from everything material and become attached to Krishna, His paraphernalia, His devotees, His service, His holy name. That is a blessing. Okay, let's recite together. Vidura Uvacha Savai Swayambhuvu Samrat Priyaputra Swayambhuvah Pratilabhya Priyam Patnim Kim Chakara Tato Mune.
Vidura said, O great sage, what did Swayambhuva, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife?
So Swayambhuva and Satarupa both have appeared from Brahmaji and they combined together husband and wife. So then what did they do? That Vidura is asking. So you read 5 verses, next five, like that. It will be easier to manage. Okay, let's. Yeah. Read the next one, third one.
O best of the virtuous, the original king of kings, Manu, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead Hari, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I am very eager to hear.
Yeah. So he's expressing his eagerness and he's also explaining why is he eager to hear. Because Vishwakshena Ashraya he also. That king, Swayambhu Manu is a Mahajan. And Vidura is also a Mahajan. He is Yamaraj. Uh, in fact, this verse about Mahajan is also spoken by Yamaraj only. Practically Vidura only. Because Vidura and Yamaraj are same person. That there is a role difference. Because Yamaraj does not get so much time to hear, although he has that eagerness to hear. So now he changed his role so that he can hear also. So sometimes that happens. We may be eager to hear, but when we are in some place, we're not able to truly hear well because we have other responsibilities. So we change our position a little bit and go for a little outing and just hear. So there we are not dealing with, mic system is not working. Here, mic system is not working, then immediately 2, 3 people will stand up. What happened? Yesterday, before yesterday, I was in Hyderabad and power went off and mic stopped working. Immediately 4, 5 brahmacharis stood up. Somebody went in sound room. Somebody started mic. Somebody started putting UPS. So sometimes one is not able to hear well in a particular situation, in a particular place. So he changes it so that he can hear. So Vidura is like that. Yamaraj, when he became more eager to hear and he want to just do sadhu sang, then he becomes Vidura. So Swayambhu Manu is a great devotee. He's a Mahajan. And that is why Vidura says, that's why I am eager to hear about him. because he's a great devotee, so it's worth hearing his sublime character and activities. Shraddha Dhanaya means one is eager to receive. Shraddha Dhana. So Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the transcendental topic of the personality of Godhead and pure devotee. In the absolute world, there is no difference in quality between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. Therefore, hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing of the character and activities of the pure devotees have the same result, namely the development of devotion service. So, development of devotion service based on hearing about the Lord and his devotees. And the Lord himself comes in the form of his devotee as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he relates with his devotees. See, Lord himself playing the role of a devotee. But in the role of a devotee, he's also associating with his own devotees. So that is even more realizable. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is the supreme most nectar available in the creation. There's nothing more nectarian than that. Srimad Bhagavatam. Same Bhagavatam, but in a more nectarian version is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Prabhupada, when he was going to US, he was reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on the Jaladuta. And he said, I'm feeling separation from my spiritual master, and I'm feeling separation from Sri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan of Vrindavan. The only solace is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where I'm relishing the transcendental nectar of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. That's how he writes it. Okay, let's see this one. Let's say it together. Shutasya pumsam suchirashramasya nanvanjasa surabhiriditordha tattat gunanushravanam mukunda padarvindam hridayeshu yesham.
Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who awards his devotees liberation.
So, suchirashramasya, he should hear from great labor and for a long time. Because what is the labor in hearing? What is the labor? It looks like you don't have to do anything to hear, right? What is the labor in hearing? Mind goes here and there. Your mind is one thing, but even physical senses to keep them awake is also challenges the labor to keep the eyes open, ears open, and mind intact. Otherwise, it is that the sound vibration is coming. It's still that's good, but then mind may not collect it. Intelligence may not understand it. So there's a labor involved in hearing and appreciating and relishing the subject matter. Suchira for a long time. Anjasa means elaborately. So, with great labor for a long time, one must hear from the mouth of pure devotees about the character and activities of other pure devotees. That is the Goyamakati Prachati. And why? Because pure devotees always think. Anu Shavanam. Anu Shavanam means thinking. Shavanam means to hear. Anu Shavanam means to chew it, to think about it. Shavanam, Mananam. So Anu Shavanam is equivalent to Mananam. What they do? Mukund Pada Arvindam Hridayeshu Yesham. In their heart, they always think of Mukunda, one way about liberation, and Pada Arvindam. They think of his lotus feet. Morning we discussed about uh, Charana Kamalam. So now it's Pada Arvindam. Transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. The entire process of training is based on hearing. Earlier in the Gurukul, there were no books, there were no writing things. They were only recite and hear and then memorize it. Not only they must hear about the activities of the Lord, they must also hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. So undoubtedly, the Lord is always within the heart of all living creature, but they hardly know about it because they are deluded by material energy. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Such pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are in fact recommended by the Lord as more worshipable than He Himself. What is the verse? Mad Bhakta Puja Abhyadika. I am more pleased when my devotee is worshipped, adored than I myself. Worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. Bhakta Kripa Anugami, Bhagavad Kripa. You hear that? It is therefore the duty of the transcendental students to hear of pure devotees, as explained by similar devotees of the Lord. But one cannot explain about the Lord or his devotees unless one happens to be a pure devotee himself. So one should hear the glorification of pure devotees by a pure devotee. That is very, very effective. And Srila Vishwanath Thakur writes in the section this particular verse, without hearing about the Lord and his devotee, knowledge of the most learned person is useless. Because ultimately, all the philosophy and everything else, Sarga, Visarga, is supposed to bring us to the point of hearing about Lord's glories and Lord's devotees' glories. Other goals are condemned. What is that goal? Hearing and chanting of the qualities of person in whose heart exists the lotus feet of Krishna. Tomara hriday sade sada Govinda Vishram. Govinda kahena mora Vaishnava. That is the relation. Sadhu nam hridayam mahyam. Lord Narayan is telling to whom? Durasaman. I reside in the heart of my devotees and devotees reside in my heart. So to hear and chant the qualities of people in whose heart Lord reside, that is the very goal. So there's nothing much to do. Sometimes we feel, oh, I'm not so skilled, I can't do this, I can't do that. But something which we always can do is to hear about the glories of the Lord and the devotee. And that is the most pleasing thing to the Lord. Shanavatam Sukata Krishna, Punya Shavana Kirtana, Hridantasto hi Abhadrani, Vidunoti Suhirsatam. Krishna says, I personally cleanse the heart of that devotee who takes pleasure in hearing about my activities and my devotee's activities. Swakatha, Shanavatam, Swakatha Krishna. So please understand the process of purification lies in hearing. And rest everything else is there because we can't hear and chant all the time. We are not pure to that degree. But if we are pure to that degree, simply by hearing and chanting all the time also, we can do great benefit to this world. Because we can set an example that the goal of life is to simply hear and chant. Everything else is useless. People start doubting, "Arey, itna kuch mehnat kar rahe hain." You have to see whether you're getting taste for hearing and chanting or not. So that is very, very important part. Now, Sri Sukadeva Goswami is saying, recite together. Sheshuka Uvacha Iti Brahmanam Viduram Vinitam Sahasra Charanopadhanam Prahastra Roma Bhagavat Kathaya Praniyamano Munirabhyachasta.
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura because Vidura was very meek and humble, meek and gentle. The sage Maitreya was very pleased with Vidura's words, and being influenced by his spirit, he attempted to speak.
Being influenced by his spirit, Praniyamana. When the audience is very excited, enthusiastic, then what happens? The speaker get affected by that. Praniyamana, he got influenced by that spirit. And Sukadeva Goswami is is remembering both Vidura and Maitreya. So he's hearing Vidura now, he's remembering the qualities of Vidura. And he's saying the personality of Godhead Krishna was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura because Vidura was very meek and gentle. Sometime Krishna would visit Hastinapur and he would keep his head also on the lap of Vidura. Upadhanam, he uses that as pillow. Sometimes do that with Arjuna also. It's a sign of great affection. Children, you have seen, they sleep on the lap. They don't get sleep outside. They sleep in the lap of the mother or on the, that lap of the father. They sleep. Sometimes Bhagavatam class Japa also you can see they sleep. So that's a sign of great affection. Word Sahasra, Sirshna is very significant. One with diverse energies, Sahasra, and activities, and a wonderful brain is known as Sahasra Sirshna. This is applicable only to Sri Krishna, no one else. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was pleased to dine sometime with Vidura at his home, and while resting, he placed his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. Maitreya was inspired by the thought of Vidura's wonderful fortune. So Sukadeva Goswami is remembering what Maitreya is remembering, and then he's quoting that. So seeing the qualification of Vidura, Maitreya's hair stood on end, and he was pleased to narrate the topic of the person God as a great delight. Actually speaking, Vidura is more qualified than Maitreya, because Vidura is a Mahajan. Krishna had his pastime with Vidura, never with Maitreya. Maitreya only came Yadishaya by the divine arrangement. Maitreya Muni just happened to come there where Krishna Uddhav Samvad was going. Right? He never planned for that. But he came, Lord's brought him there so that he could later speak to Vidura. So actually, Maitreya is very conscious of that. He knows Vidura's position. Although Vidura is taking a humble position of inquiring, but Maitreya is still conscious of Vidura's exalted position. So this is the samvad. It is not that, oh, I know and you are a fool. You nonsense. You ask, I will tell you what. It's not like that. The spiritual circles are not like that. The spiritual circle, the speaker considers oneself as a servant of the audience, and the person in the audience asks in a genuine way for the sake of understanding that Lord will reveal the knowledge, wisdom through him because he's sitting at the Vyasas. This mood is very important. This mood setting is there practically everywhere. When Devoti Kapil Samvad will be there, mood setting is there. Kapila will sit on a higher asana, Devoti will take a lower asana, although she is the mother and he is the son. And then she'll glorify Kapil Muni. And then she'll inquire. Right? So this is the etiquette for proper inquiry. Maitreya Uvacha Yada Subharya Sardham Jata Swayambhavo Manu Pranjali Pranatas Chedam Ved Garbham Abhashata.
The sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after his appearance, Manu, the father of mankind, along with his wife, thus addressed the reservoir of Vedic wisdom, Brahma, with obeisances and folded hands.
Veda Garbham, he was a reservoir of Vedic wisdom. Pranataha, he offered his obeisances. Pranjali, he folded hand. These are signs of great respect, great submissiveness. When we fold the hands or we bow down, signs of submission. So now what is being tested? त्वमेकं सर्वभूतानां जन्मकृत प्रतिद पिता तथापि न प्रजानां ते शुश्रूषा केन वा भवेत्.
You are the father of all living entities and the source of their subsistence, because they are all born of you. Please order us how we may be able to render service unto you.
Shushusha kena va bhavet. How possibly we can serve you? Please order us. So this is important. Sushusho shadadhanascha vasudeva katharuchi. Samahas sevaya vipro punya tirtha nishevaya. So Vasudeva Katharuchi is important. We want to have taste for hearing Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam. But how it will come? Shushusho shadadhanascha. When with faith we render service to the great devotees, then they bestow the ability and the taste for hearing. It will not come by any other gymnastic. It comes by blessings. And blessings come by service. So Vaishnava Seva even precedes the taste for hearing. Vaishnava Seva precedes the chanting of the holy name also. Vaishnava Seva is so very important. Right? So that's why when there is service, proper service being done with a submissive heart, then one gets the ability to hear. This is evident in the case of Narad Muni. When he's telling the first canto, he says, I rendered menial services to them and I participated in the discussion they were having. And I tasted their remnant. And they blessed me. They blessed me that I could understand the message what I'm hearing. He was blessed by them, by the dint of service. And he was not frivolous. He was not playful. He was very obedient. So all these qualities we develop. Sometimes we ask whether we should develop qualities or whether we should do bhakti. These are not two different things. We should develop qualities so that we get blessed by the people whom we are serving by our good nature, good behavior. And when they bless us, then Lord from within the heart, He gives us that ability to hear properly, understand the subject matter, relish the subject matter, get affected by the subject matter. Otherwise, one may hear, but still one may not gain anything. Lord is there in the heart, He has to do a lot of things. Tesham satate yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. Bhajatam means to render devotion service with love, loving devotion service. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Then I give that buddhi yoga. Yena mam vyantite. How one can come up to me. And the next verse, Tesham Tesham evanukampartham aham agyan jamta nashyami atmabhavasto jnana deepena bhasha. I sitting within the heart. Through the torchlight of knowledge, dissipate the darkness. This is all happening internally. But when? When we please the Lord. And how do we please the Lord? By pleasing His servants, by pleasing His devotees. That's the most powerful and the easiest way. Through devotees, we get the instruction to chant the holy name, to read Bhagavatam, to worship the deity. That all comes as an instruction of the devotees. The Guru trains us in hearing Bhagavatam, in chanting the holy name, in worshipping the deity, going to the holy dham. So that is why Guru is the via media, transparent via media for us to take us to Krishna. So Prabhupada says, a son's duty is not only to make the father the source of supply for all his need, but also when he's grown up to render service unto him. This is important, you know. I think it was American President John F. Kennedy when America has to enter the World War II. I'll have to find out. I'm not remembering exactly. And he, in his speech, the famous speech, he says, ask not what the nation has done for you. Ask yourself what you have done for the nation. Ask you that what you have done for the nation. He changes the situation because generally it is the tendency of a conditioned living entity is what is being done for me? How am I being cared? But okay, that is his age for that. There is a stage when the children are taken care of by the parent. But when children grow up, there is a reverse process and the children take care of parents. Now Sadhguru Prabhu's mother met with an accident. Now he's taking them to Dharwad. So earlier they took care of him and now he's taking them to Dharwad. Right, no? You know, he told you? Yeah. So he's bringing a car and taking them. So similarly, in our own life, it should not be that lifelong we should be dependent, but dependent in terms of the mercy, the kindness, the blessings, the guidance. But when it comes to contribution, then actually we should be contributing to the mission. That's a very important thing. We always cannot ask for things, but we should be contributing into things. That is the law of creation beginning from the time of Brahma. A father's duty is bring up the son until he's grown, and when the son is grown up, it is his duty to render service unto the father. So we come in Krishna consciousness, that is like our birth. And then first 5 years, 10 years, that is like infancy in childhood. But after a few years, 15 years or some, when we become teenage and youth, then we should give back. Now it's our mission. Now it's our society. Now it's our home. Not that अरे इधर कैसा क्यों हो रहा है कैसा हो रहा है तो तुम ठीक करो और किसी दूर से अगर थोड़ी है at a home if mother sees something dirty what does she do? Does she phone call cleaning department municipal corporation को फोन लगा के बोलते हैं हमारे घर में एक कागज का टुकड़ा गिर गया है फर्श पे आप उठाने आ जाओ Will she call the PMC people अरे हमारा घर गंदा पड़ा झाड़ू मार के जाओ नहीं घर आपका है तो साफ कौन करेगा आप ही साफ करेंगे ना So similarly, at a certain stage, we should own the mission, we should own the institution, and we should own the ashram, and not demand from that. Rather, we should contribute. Not that we come in the duality of asking, क्या है, क्या चल क्या रहा है, चल क्या रहा है, जो नहीं चल रहा है वो आप चलाओ, आप ही, you are a part of that. So that's why it's an important thing that Prabhupada says. Father's duty is to bring up the son. So yes, we have brought up first, one round and two round and follow up prasadam and camps and yatras and then sponsorships and then PDC training and so much things happen. But at some point of time, we should take ownership of the ashram, of the mission and the institution. And then we should contribute for that. Tadvidehi namastubhyam karma savidyatma saktishu yatkritveha yasho vishwag amutra cha bhavet gatihi.
O worshipful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next.
Brahmaji is the direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from the Lord, and anyone discharging entrusted duties in disciplic succession of Brahma is sure to gain fame in this life and salvation in the next. So Brahmaji is a bona fide person. Whatever service he gives is certainly the will of the Lord, and one will gain fame in this life, salvation in the next. And then Prabhupada quotes the entire Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. Entire, all the names he said, which are there in the Parampara listed in front of Bhagavad Gita. He listed all the names. And he said this line of disciplic succession from Brahma is spiritual, whereas the genealogical succession from Manu is material, but both are on the progressive march towards the same goal of Krishna consciousness. So he is asking, and a very important thing is saying, Tat videhi namastubhyam. I offer my obeisances. Videhi. Videhi is one name of Brahma is also Vidhi. Give direction to us. You are Idya, your worshipful one. And what kind of instruction you give? Atma Saktishu. You give instruction within our Atma Saktishu, within our working capacity. Because we all may have certain limitations of skill, talent, desires, whatever. So it's important that we work within our working capacity, but by Krishna's grace, our working capacity expands. We all can see that when we were like in college or even PDC times, we were doing just one thing and it looked like, अरे क्या है अभी हरिनाम को जाना है अभी वहाँ cleaning करना है. So much mind was bothered. But as we grow, capacity increases. We preach in one college and we want to preach in two colleges. We are taking of some children, want to take more children. We have one department, want to have more department. So we should work in our working capacity, but working capacity expands by the mercy of the Lord. And that's why our services also keeps on expanding. Now, if you see Radheshambhu services, it started with youth preaching in one college in 95. And now 6 places had the retreat. In America, 6 places had retreat where almost 50 to 80 people were there, every place. Boys and girls and some families were also attending to learn. And 6 retreats, 6 weekends, 6 retreats. And he's almost 15 places in America. He has sent mentors. He has connected them to Indian people like Kanai Thakur Prabhu and Vikram Gaurang Prabhu and others. They are guiding. 15 places youth preaching is happening. And then he's managing Hyderabad temple and Pune temple. And then he's doing youth preaching personally and giving so many training programs. So working capacity expands. And then the services also expand. So that's how things happen. Text 9. Brahma Uvacha Pritastubhyamaham Tatam Swasti Standvam Shitishwara Yannirvirikena Hridaya Shadimetyam Manarpitam.
Lord Brahma said, My dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions.
Yeah. Brahmaji becomes extremely pleased and he says, Pritah tubhyam aham tata. Oh my dear son, I am very pleased with you. Swasti stat vam. Let there be blessings upon both of you. So, nirvilikena, without reservation, you have surrendered your heart. Sadimam. And Atmana arpitam. Atmana arpitam means you have surrendered yourself. Self has two parts, ahanta and mamata. I am and I have. These are the two parts. I am and I have. So process of bhakti means to purify this ahanta and mamata from material to spiritual. At a material level, ahanta and mamata means I am this body and things and people connected to body are mine. That is ahanta and mamata of the conditioned souls. And pure devotee, ahanta, I am servant of the Lord only. Mamata, Lord service is my only possession. Devotee service is my only possession. Devotion service is my only wealth. So this journey from ahanta and mamata, from conditioned soul to pure devotee, that is the journey of a sadhaka. This is being described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur at the conclusion of Madhurya Gadamani. He describes all the 9 stages of bhakti in terms of purification of ahanta and mamata to different degrees in different stages. So he described that in the beginning, ahanta and mamata purified little, ek desh vardhini. Sometime person remember, yes, I am Lord servant. वो बोले थे क्लास में कि मैं भगवान का दास हूँ, बोले तो थे. But it doesn't do anything about that. And then, in Shraddha, Ado Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, each stage, ahanta and mamata become more and more purified. And we come closer to our real position and get away from our artificial position. So here, Manu has offered his ego and possessions to Brahma. He's saying, I am your servant, I am your son, and I will do whatever you tell me to do. Karishyaye vachanam tava. So here, the 5 qualities of a servant are being described. One of them is nirvyalikena. Vaishnav has given elaborate lectures on these 5 qualities. If you want, you can hear that with more detail. It tells more practically. But this is very important because this is the actual mood of a servant. Because bhakti is about being a servant of a servant. So what is the actual mood of a servant is very important to understand. So these are the 5 qualities. Nirvelikena and Atmana arpitam, to surrender one's existence and not have any reservation in executing the services. Gopal, right? The relationship between the father and the son is always sublime. Father is naturally disposed with goodwill and is ready to help the son in progress in life. But in spite of the father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided because of his misuse of personal independence. Every living entity has the choice of independence. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. Nirvelikena means that unreservedly. He's not having that hesitation. In Kali Yuga, the biggest problem is that, there's no faith in the superior or in the authority or, anyone else. So that is the biggest curse of this age. That faith and trust becomes very difficult to keep. And there are reasons also because people have cheated as well, so it's not easy. But without that faith, one cannot make progress either, right? So that's a challenging part. We know that we are with devotees who may face challenges in their life. So to keep full faith or not to keep full faith, to hear everything what they say or to apply our own brain, that kind of questions keep on coming. So at one level, we should have faith in Srila Prabhupada. They created the institution, created the system for our benefit. Then we should have faith in our spiritual master without reservation. And as far as the authorities and others are concerned, we can have a discussion. We should never be disobedient. What do you call it? Yeah, we should not be disobedient. We can always consult them. We can express our doubts and ask, how do you think this service will be best for me? Or how do you have confidence whether I can do that? Or I have this limitation whether I can do that or not. There can be discussion. But there should be no reservation. If our questions are answered, then we should be very happy and enthusiastic to carry it forward. That reservation should not be there. Nirveli Kena should be there. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. And this is very excellent relationship between Brahma and Manu. Both are well qualified and their example should be followed by all humankind. Manu, the son, unreservedly asked the father Brahma to instruct him, and the father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. Example of father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of the relationship of fathers and son. So Kardam Muni's section is also nirvelika, without duplicity, without reservation. So conditioned soul is inclined to cheat due to 4 defects. But if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplic succession or the parampara, you overcome the 4 defect. This is in the purport of 324.12. Later it will come. Kapil Dev section. To honor the spiritual master means to carry out his instruction word for word. And Haldar Maharaj says in connection that essence of duplicity is doership, which destroys dependence on the Lord. So, doership create 2 things. One thing is create pride. I did it. I may become proud of that. Secondly, it creates fruitive mentality that whatever happens by my doing, I am the possessor of those results. So this doership mentality is a very great curse. And the entire Bhagavad Gita is spoken to bring Arjuna from a doership mentality to instrumental mentality. Earlier thinking, I will not fight, as if he has to really fight. I will not fight. That means you're thinking he's a fighter. That's why he says, I will not fight. But later on he says that I'll follow your order. If you order me to fight, I'll fight as an instrument, as I will not. Karishya vachanam tava. And then further qualities are being described by Brahmaji. Etavati atmajar veera karyahi apachatir guru sakya pramatter griyeta sadaram gatamassaraha.
O hero, your example is quite befitting a son in relationship with his father. This sort of adoration for the superior is required. One who is beyond the limit of envy and who is sane accepts the order of his father with great delight and executes it to his full capacity.
So many important verses there. Sa adara means with great delight. It should not be done grudgingly. It should be done with great happiness. Gatamassaraha. It should not, one should keep the spiritual master or the senior beyond the limit of envy. Gatamassaraha sa adaram. And also he says, Shaktya. Shaktya means with full capacity. Whatever capacity one has, whatever intelligence one has, one should apply everything. Shaktya. Apramatte. Apramatte means without any kind of madness. Pramatta means mad. Nunam pramatta kurute vikram. Apramatta means by the sane. So this is are the further qualities. One nirveli kena, and then shaktya. One should do that with full. How to follow the instruction? These are these 5 qualities to follow the instruction. That is the title of Radheshampur's lecture. He has spoken multiple lectures on this. So nirveli kena, and then shaktya, apramatter, saadaram, and gat matsara, by giving up envy. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport, when the 4 previous sons, the 4 Kumara, they refused to obey the father, his anger was manifested in the shape of Rudra. And this incident was not forgotten by Brahmaji. Therefore, the obedience of Manu Swambhu was very encouraging. Was very encouraged that, okay, there's somebody listening. The previous ones did not listen. Now somebody is listening. So, and Prabhupada says that from material perspective, the 4 sages disobedience is very abominable. But because such obedience was for a higher purpose, they were free from the reaction of disobedience. But on material ground, if somebody disobeys the father, then they are subjected to disciplinary action for such disobedience. And Manu's obedience to his father was certainly free from envy, and it is imperative for worldly men to follow the example of Manu. Gatamatsara is saying, Gatamatsara means the disciples should be united in fulfilling the Guru's order. They should not envy each other. They should not compete with each other. They should cooperate with each other to fulfill the orders of the Guru. And further, Vishnu Thakur says, Matsaro Anya Shubha Dvesha. Matsara means to become jealous of others' auspicious qualities. So one cannot be disobedient to father on material grounds. Spiritual ground is a different thing, like 4 Kumaras or Vasudeva or Narayan Parayana, they rejected. But on material ground, if somebody rejects the order of the father, even if it appears somewhat awkward, still he will be condemned. And the example is Maharaj Yadu. Maharaj Yadu was cursed, not Maharaj Yadu, Maharaj Yayati was cursed to become old by Shukracharya because he was not faithful to his daughter. So Maharaj Yayati became old, but he has such desire to enjoy, he wanted to exchange the old age with his sons. Now it is seemingly not a very proper cultural thing. And then he has 4 sons. 2 sons rejected on material ground. We will enjoy, why should you enjoy? And they were condemned. Maharaj Yadu rejected also, but Yadu rejected on spiritual ground that Lord will appear in his dynasty. So he was freed from any kind of reaction. And the youngest one, what was his name? Puru. He accepted. So he's also glorified. So he's glorified for obedience. Yadu is glorified for disobedience for a higher purpose. But other 2 are condemned. They are considered like the stool of the father, like that is condemned. So on material ground, one cannot reject. On a spiritual ground, one for a higher purpose can reject. So this is a little technical aspect of this. But Brahmaji became very pleased because he was remembering that 4 Kumar the, kuch kiya nahi, mana kar diya. Now, he was angry about that. But now he's very pleased because Swayambhu is asking that. Now what he should do is being stated here. Swatayam apatyani sadrishani atmano gune utpadya sasha dharmena gam yagya purusham yaja.
Since you are my very obedient son, I ask you to beget children qualified like yourself in the womb of your wife. Rule the world in pursuance of the principles of devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus worship the Lord by performance of yajna.
Yeah. So Brahmaji glorifies the obedience of Swayambhu Manu in 2 verses. And now he's saying that please beget children qualified like yourself, like father, like son. And then rule the world in pursuance of the principle of devotion service. And then worship the Lord by performing yajna. 3 things he's asking. Beget children, rule the world, and worship the Lord. And then Prabhupada writes in the purpose, same thing he says about nice children through Varnashram Dharma and following the Varnashram principle. Those who take the license of married life for sense enjoyment must also take the responsibility to satisfy the Supreme Person of Godhead Vishnu, and that is first stepping stone is Varnashram Dharma. However, if one directly engages in the process of devotional service to the Supreme Person of Godhead, it may not be necessary to undergo the disciplinary system of Varnashram Dharma. So one directly comes to the level of devotional service which Prabhupada preached and Prabhupada brought many of his disciples to, then Varnashram Dharma may not be necessary. But at times Varnashram Dharma may be a stepping stone for people to come to deeper level of Krishna consciousness. So then further he qualifies it. Param sushushanam mayam shat praja rakshaya nirpa bhagwan ste praja bhartur rishikesho nuktushuyati antushyati.
O king, if you can give proper protection to the living beings in the material world, that will be the best service for me. When the Supreme Lord sees you to be a good protector of the conditioned souls, certainly the master of the senses will be very pleased with you.
Yeah. So he is remembering the Supreme Lord. Brahmaji is also not forgetting what is his duty to the Supreme Lord. He's not saying, I like this, I want this, I think this. No. He's also just trying to become an instrument in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. And the same thing he's requesting the king, Swayambhu Manu, to do. Give proper protection to the living entities. And when the Lord sees you as a protector of the conditioned souls, then Lord Rishikesh will be very pleased with you. And Prabhupada says the whole administrative system is arranged for the purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. Brahma is the representative, Manu is the representative, all other kings are the representatives. The law book for the entire human society is Manu Samhita, which gives, I don't know what is there. Yeah, we direct all living entities towards the transcendental service of the Lord. Every king, therefore, must know that his responsibility in administration is not merely to exact taxes from the citizen, but to see personally that the citizen under him are being trained in Vishnu worship. That training has to be there, that environment has to be there. That is the duty of the administration. Everyone must be educated in Vishnu worship and everyone must be engaged in devotional service of Rishikesha. The conditions of men not to satisfy the material senses but to satisfy the sense of Rishikesha. This is the purpose of the complete administrative system. One who knows the secret as disclosed here is in the version of Brahma is the perfect administrative head. One who does not know this is a show bottle administrator. So we all do administration. Prabhupada is giving direct guideline or direct duty or responsibility for the administrator. Everyone must be educated and engaged. This is the purpose of administration. And by training the citizen in the devotional service of the Lord, the head of the state can be free in his responsibility. Otherwise, he'll fail in the onerous duty entrusted to him. So, what is that? Education, engagement, and training. Right? This is the duty. Otherwise, is punishable by the supreme authority. Then no other alternative in the discharge of the administrative duty. So there is inspiration through education, encouragement, and example, and engagement. That is the Vedic administrative culture, not hire and fire, not the Vedic Western one. So we should do three things. We should have an arrangement by which we can educate people. Courses, systems, seminars, whatever else will be there, classes. And then there should be engagement. There should be, proper services being created, resources being created, places being created that this is the way you can serve. So education should be there, engagement should be there, and example should be there also. It's not that we tell others but not do ourselves. We should show the same thing by our own example also. Then our duty is complete. If we are setting the example, if we are creating facility for education and training, and if we are creating facility for service, then our duty towards our dependent is considered complete. Otherwise, we are punishable by the supreme authority. Two more verses, and then we will have a little break, and then after that continue with the chapter. Yesham natusto Bhagavan yagya lingo janardana tesham shamo hi apartha yat atma nadat anadrit swayam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janardhan, the Lord Krishna, is a form to accept all the results of sacrifice. If he is not satisfied, then one's labor for advancement is futile. He is the ultimate self, and therefore one who does not satisfy him certainly neglects his own interests.
Yeah. So in the first canto it says, no? What is that? Sam siddhi maritoshanam. How does that word is struck? Adha pambir dvishesha varnasham vivagasa. Swanishtis sam siddhir haritoshanam. That's the goal. Sam siddhir haritoshanam. If that is not the goal of all our activities, then actually we are failing in the purpose of those activities. And Prabhupada says Brahmaji deputed as the supreme head of universal affair, and he deputes Manu and others as charges the affairs. This is English of those days. Charges the affairs. Means in charge of the affairs. But the whole show is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma knows how to satisfy the Lord, and similarly, person knows, engaged in the line of Brahma's plan of activities, know how to satisfy the Lord. The Lord is satisfied by the process of devotional service, consisting of ninefold process of hearing, chanting. It is in one's own self-interest to execute prescribed devotional service, and anyone who neglects this process neglects his own self-interest. So, and the complete process of devotional service to render service for the satisfaction of the transcendental senses of Lord Krishna, known as Janardana. So all other activities are there so that we can perform the ninefold devotional services, ninefold process of devotional services. Okay. So now Manu is asking him. Manu, after hearing all these instructions, then he's saying, Manu Ruvacha, Adeshe ham bhagavato varteyami vasudana sthanam tva ihanujanihi prajanamam cha prabho.
Shri Manu said, O all powerful Lord, O killer of all sins, I shall abide by your order. Now please let me know my place and that of the living entities born of me.
Yeah. So he said, I will do, but I need a resource. No? Where should I stay and where should the people whom I create will stay? No? Population, I will create somebody, somewhere they will stay. So where that will happen, please let me know. Yadoka sarvabhutanam mahimagna mahambasi asya uddharane yatno devadevya vidiyatam.
O Master of the demigods, please attempt to lift the earth, which is merged in the great water, because it is the dwelling place for all the living entities. It can be done by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord.
Two fingers, your endeavor and mercy of the Lord. You know Damodar Leela? Two finger, two short. So it says, by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord. What it says is, Uddharane yatna and Deva Devya Vidiyatam. Deva Devya. So your endeavor and Lord's mercy, it can happen. So the great water mentioned is Garbhoda question, which fill half of the universe. So we'll continue after 8 minutes. It's 11:38, 11:45 I'll resume because we'll go until 1 only mostly. After 1, I have to go to Camp Temple for bringing Lord Jagannath. He will come, but it's our good fortune to be there in the caravan. That's all. Okay. I'll take a break. Lie down, relax, drink some water, wash your face, whatever else you want to do. 8 minutes and then we'll join again. Okay? Video बंद कर दो. Video 1:31. Time Madhav. Time Madhav से ज़्यादा हो गया. 100. 1:30 के बाद. from here. Better. Yeah. Sound unmute. Yeah. Are you able to hear Prandaksharan Prabhu, Nimayanand Prabhu? Are you able to hear Haribam? They're still in the break period. Nobody's responding. I have switched on the video from my side. Haribam. This is better video. This looks like I move a hand and it goes in 10-year slow process, and then I will get confused. This direct video is better. Camera, laptop camera is better than that. Sound can go from there. No problem. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we saw about the glorification of the process of hearing, Vidura's eagerness to hear in the first 4 verses. Then we hear about Swambhu Manu's obedience to Brahmaji, Brahmaji's appreciation to Swambhu Manu, and appreciation for his willingness to follow the instruction. And then we are now seeing Swambhu Manu is asking that where should he live and where should be the people, children living? Because earth is not there. So earth has got merged in the great water. So please lift it by your endeavor and by the mercy of the Lord. So now Maitreya Muni is further saying. Maitreya uvacha parameshthitvapaam madhye tatha sannam avekshagam katamenam samunyesya iti dadhyo dhiyacharam.
Sri Maitreya said, thus seeing the earth merge in the water, Brahma gave his attention for a long time to how it could be lifted.
Yeah, Jiva Goswami says there are 2 things, 2 different millennium. The Svetavaraha and Chakshusa millennium. Both are discussed here. So now Brahmaji is meditating because it's not an easy task. Garbhoda Goshen is not easy to navigate. Brahmaji is above Garbhoda Goshen in that, lotus system. He has created the planet. Now, earth has fallen in there. So how to lift it, he is thinking. Dadho Dhiya Charam gave attention by intelligence for long time. Next verse.
Brahma thought, while I have been engaged in the process of creation, the earth has been inundated by a deluge and has gone down into the depth of the ocean. What can we do who are engaged in this matter of creation? It is best to let the Almighty Lord direct us.
So ultimate platform of a devotee's, service is Dadami Buddhi, Yogamtam. Lord gives direction from within, but also confirms them from without. It is not then everyone says, मेरे को भगवान ने यही प्रेरणा दिया है. ऐसा नहीं है. They have to be confirmed by Guru Sadhu Shastra also. But actually Lord directs from within the heart. So Brahmaji is thinking, I was there in the process of creation, earth has gone down. How to again get it back? Then it's better that the Lord only direct us. It's proper right. The devotees of the Lord, who are all confidential servitors, are sometimes perplexed in the discharge of their respective duties, but they are never discouraged. Sometimes there may be perplexity whether to do this or that, this way or that way, but they are never discouraged. They have full faith in the Lord, and He paves the way for the smooth progress of the devotee's duty. They are not victimized by the anxiety. They may be perplexed, confused, whether to do this way or that way, but not that they are discouraged. They want to do, but they wait for the signal. We were trying to take Lord Jagannath to Kunjaveri for many years actually. That's not the proposal from the very beginning of the Rath Yatra. But then the proposal that they'll put a pandal outside the temple hall and there will be a separate pandal made, that didn't suit the committee members. So after many years when the temple got renovated and then the temple hall became bigger, and then the discussion came again, and everyone liked the temple hall, the majestic temple hall, the chandeliers, the wooden flooring. And immediately all accepted that, yes, we'll do 1 week. And at that time only, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, Bhakti Prem Maharaj, both of them asked in one Rath Yatra 3 years back, that in 23, Because 2021, there were no Rath Yatra, I think so. So 22 or 23. So they asked that, why don't you do a 9-day festival? That is the culture of Jagannath. Before that, nobody asked also because they both didn't come. But they asked, why don't you do? We do it in Ujjain, we do it in Mayapur. Because Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj came from Mayapur. So Rajapur Jagannath comes to Mayapur. And Ujjain, they make a whole pandal. And Jagannath ji stays there for 9 days and comes back. So both of them asked. Temple hall became bigger, became beautiful. And everyone agreed. And then Jagannath is there now from last 2 years. And hopefully it will continue. So sometime when the right time comes, everything falls in place. Before that, people may have desire, but it will not get fulfilled. So many of us had the desire to make a strong bond between the two temples and for Jagannath to give an outing experience, but it didn't work out. Nobody just felt inspired that there will be a separate pandal outside the temple hall and all. That did not appeal. Unanimously, everyone said no. And there and everything all fell in place. But the confirmation came from these two great souls also. Because they said, then even if somebody is opposing and all, we say, see, we have the order from two great souls. Two Mahatmas are telling. Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj is a Puri born Panda. And Bhakti Prem Maharaj also is from Bengal. So these are very bona fide Vaishnavas. If they are telling something, that means Jagannath is inspiring them to tell. So everything falls in place. The facility comes, the direction comes. Everyone agrees also. Radheshampu agreed, everyone agreed, and ministry, DT ministry agreed. So sometimes if there are too many things opposing, too many challenges, then we should really sit back and think, maybe this is not the will of the Lord at this time. Even Mahaprabhu, when he was trying to preach in Bengal, it is said that it was not getting so well. People are opposing and all. So he took sannyas and went to Puri and he went to South India where he preached to everyone. And then went back to Bengal, to Ramkeli to preach. And Bengal, he sent Nityananda, you preach in Bengal. So sometimes there may be situations. Craziness. Sound is wonderful. Without sound, we can't do anything. But it's kind of loud sounds are very disturbing. So when the right time comes, you see that things just fall in place, one after another. Things fall. When the Lord desires, everything falls in place. When we desire, but Lord may wait. Lord may wait to express desire, or He may have an alternate desire. Then it takes time. Many cases we can see that. So one may get perplexed, but we should not get discouraged. Iti abhidhyayato nasha vivarata sahasanaga varaha toko niraga angusta parimanakaha.
O sinless Vidura, all of a sudden, while Brahma was engaged in thinking, a small form of a boar came out of his nostril. The measurement of the creature was not more than the upper portion of the thumb.
This much, upper portion. This much. Came out. What it is? Tasyapi pashyata khatva kshanena kila bharata gajamatraha pravardhe tadadbhutam abhun mahat.
O descendant of Bharat, while Brahma was observing him, that boar becomes situated in the sky in a wonderful manifestation as a gigantic, as a great elephant.
So he came out and he started growing. Like Matsya Avatar, what was that? Manu? Satyavrat Manu. He took and he kept in a pot and the fish immediately grew. He kept in this and that. And finally he has to leave it in ocean. And it grew to be like thousands of yojanas big. So he understood it, the Supreme Lord. So, Marichi Pramukher Vipre Kumarer Manunasah Drashtva Tatsvakaram Rupam Tarkayam Asa Chitrada.
Struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma with great Brahmanas like Marichi as well as the Kumaras and Manu began to urge in various ways.
So Brahmaji saw that and he was wondering what came out of my nose, and generally not many good things come out of nose, right? It's all dirty things come out. But here the boar came and they were all like arguing and saying, what is that? Next.
In this some extraordinary entity come in the presence of a pretense of a boar. It is very wonderful that he has come from my nose.
Aho, but ascharyam idam. It's very wonderful. Oh, Asharyam. Oh, it is Asharyam. Nasaya me vinhiristam. This came out of my nose.
First of all, this boar was seen no bigger than the tips of a thumb, and within a moment he was as large as a stone. My mind is perturbed. Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu?
Yeah. Yagyo me khede manaha. The tip of a thumb, then large as a stone, then as big as an elephant. So is he the Supreme Lord? So Brahma is the supermost person. He had never before experienced such a form. He could guess that the wonderful appearance of the boar was an incarnation of the Vishnu. The uncommon feature, symptomatic of the incarnation of God, had can bewilder even the mind of Brahma. Iti मीमांसतस्तस्य ब्रह्मण सह सूनुभि भगवान यज्ञ पुरुषो जगर जागेंद्र सन्निभ.
While Brahma was deliberating with his son, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu rode tremulously like a great mountain.
Prabhupada says it appears that great hills and mountains also have their roaring power because they were also living entities. Mandar Parvat, Menak Parvat, Govardhan Parvat, Himalaya Parvat. Sound of the volume vibrated is in proportion to size of the material body. Brahma was guessing, then Lord confirmed Brahma's contemplation by roaring with his gorgeous voice. Brahmanam harshayamasa harish samshadijottaman swargajirtena kakubhi pratiswanyata vibhu.
The omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead enlivened Brahma and the other highly elevated Brahmanas by the again roaring with his uncommon voice, which echoed in all directions.
So Brahma and other enlightened Brahmanas are enlivened by the appearance of the Lord in any form of his multiple incarnation. So his mountain-like form did not fill them with any kind of fear, although the Lord's resounding voice was tumultuous and echoed horribly in all directions as an open threat to all demons who might challenge his omnipotence. Yeah. So Lord comes in these form, Leela Avatar, at times to kill the demons. And that time he challenges. He goes out of the way and he challenges also. Is there anyone who is there to face me? But when Lord comes in his deity form, the purpose is different. So sometimes people say, no, deity can't save themselves. Mughals attacked, Kala Pahad attacked. Jagannath Puri temple has a whole history of being attacked multiple times by different people. And destroyed also. Temple destroyed, so many things done. Vrindavan, we all know how the deities were to be taken to Radha Kund, then to Kamevan, then to... Somebody wonder why Lord doesn't really punish. Is he not having the power? He is having the power. He is Paramatma also. And deities also, he is having all omnipotency is there with him. And he can do that sometimes, but not at all times. When he comes in these forms, Paritranaya sadhana vinashaya cha dushkitam, then he roars. Who is there? Where are the demons? Bring them here. And he comes in nursing Dev, he tears apart all Hiranyakashipu and all his soldiers. But when he comes in deity form, the prime purpose of coming in deity form is to accept the love, affection, and service from his devotees. Purpose is not to kill demons. Purpose is not to save oneself. Purpose is not to eat oneself. Purpose is that give that opportunity to serve in terms of feeding, in terms of bathing, in terms of celebrating festival, in terms of protecting to the devotees, to increase the affection in the heart of the devotee. When you protect someone, you are really attached. Then only you want to protect. Huh? And if you are successfully able to do that, and you feel great success and you feel greatly your attachment being increased with that. Like sometimes the child becomes sick, the parent admit him to hospital, the parent becomes so much in anxiety, and if the child comes out safely, recovered, then they feel relieved, and the intensity of affection increases. So similarly, in the deity form, Lord comes and perform all this pastime, although he can change the course of the history, but he does that because he has a better plan. Now, uh, Gopalji is there in Nathdwara. Thousands of people are coming. Had he been in Vrindavan, people would have been coming. But Nathdwara is a separate dham for him and millions of people come. Radha Govinda is in Jaipur. So many people are coming. So Vrindavan still people are coming. So to not get one place crowded, Lord already did a management of pilgrims. You go here. Just like we say, na? Like 10 buses in Yatra. Hi, tum idhar jao, tum idhar jao, tum idhar jao. Baki mere piche. So like that. Lord did that. Let these devotees also get the opportunity to serve and benefit here also. So 1 year yatra to this thing. what do you call, Nathdwara, 1 year to Jaipur, 1 year to Vrindavan, 1 year to Govardhan. Otherwise, 1 year to Vrindavan, everyone is there. We don't do Vrindavan 1 year to Madan Mohan, 1 year to Govindev. No, one yatra, everything is covered. So Lord does this pastime only for the sake of inspiring affection in the heart of a devotee when he comes in the deity form. But when he comes in this form, like Varadev, then he's roaring loudly. So giving pleasure to all his devotees and installing fear in the heart of all the demons. Next verse. Pardon?
When the great sages and thinkers who are resident of Janaloko, Tapaloko, and Satyalok heard the tremulous voice of Lord Bor, which was the all auspicious sound of the all merciful Lord. They chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas.
Yeah. So they could understand by hearing the sound that this is Lord himself. And when the Lord appears, then they Purushukta prayed the offer. Hare Om, like that they offer prayers. The word Maya is very significant. Maya means mercy, specific knowledge, and also illusion. Thus, Lord Bor is everything. He is merciful, his knowledge, and his illusion also. The sound which he vibrated as the Bor incarnation was answered by the Vedic hymns of the great sages in the planet, Janlok, Taplok, and Satyalok. When they heard the voice of the Bor, they could understand this is sound of the Lord, no one else. Thus, therefore, they replied by praying to the Lord Vedic hymn. The earth planet was submerged in the mire, but on hearing the sound of the Lord, the inhabitants of the higher planet were all jubilant because they knew the Lord was there to deliver the earth, Bhumi, Mahi. Therefore, they were all enlivened. Bhumi is very important because the airport for going to Vaikuntha or either planet is on Bhumi Devi only. So if that airport wala thing goes down, then the Brahmanda will continue, but nobody will get off. It will not happen. The Karma Yoni exists only on Bhumi Devi only, not other planets. So all planets were there. It was not that the universe has fallen. Bhumi Devi has fallen. But Bhumi Devi is considered so significant throughout the scripture because it's a track changing place. It's a station, it's a junction when people can decide what they want to do. And it is from this place, especially the human form in this planet Earth, that one can take off and go to Vaikuntha or Ayodhya or Goloka. Otherwise, not. From having a heavenly planet, Shine Panya, Shine Punya, Martilok, Vishanti, they come down. They don't. And there's a gradual elevation. Somebody in the Brahma Loka, they can go. They can go to Vaikuntha also. But that is very small number. But the major number of delivery, it happens in Bhulok only. So if Bhulok is not there, then the purpose of the universe fails. The purpose of the universe is fulfilled only by the presence of Bhudevi, the earth planet. Because that is the planet from where one can preach and one can change the misguided mentality of the conditioned souls and, inspire them to go back to God. Other places not. Other places were not very difficult to preach. There are no preachers in Swargaloka and other lokas there. They go on their own. Vishnu Thakur says the boar is described as the personification of the Vedas. Veda Vitana Murtihi, since the Vedas arise from his breathing. So it's very important. Next one it will come. So we'll explain that. Prabhupada will explain. Tesam Satam Veda Vitana Murti. Brahmavadharyat Gunanuvadam Vinadya Bhuvo Vibuddho Dayaya Gajendra Lilo Jalama Vishesha. Pardon?
Like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayer by the great devotee. The Lord is the object of Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotee prayer were meant for him.
Yeah. So Lord's form in any shape is transcendental, full of knowledge and mercy. All the Vedas worship the transcendental form of the Lord. And in Ishopanishad, the devotee requests the Lord to remove the glaring effulgence. So Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, right? Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord. And that breath was inhaled by Brahma, the original student of the Vedas, because Brahma was initiated by the Lord through his breathing. Lord exhaled and Brahma inhaled. So Brahma became initiated. He got affected. That was the first, what you call that, like corona happens. By breathing, if you come in that range, you sneeze and another person gets. So Lord breathed out, Brahma breathed in, and Brahma became initiated. So the breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of Lord Boar. So now Brahma breathed out, then boar incarnation came out. Therefore, the boar incarnation of the Lord is the personified Vedas, because he breathed in Vedas, which came out from the breath of the Lord. And he breathed out, that means again the Vedas came out. The personification of Veda came out in the form of the boar. The Lord was therefore pleased when such Vedic mantras were chanted, and to encourage pure devotee, he wrote once more. And then he entered into the water to rescue the submerged earth. Now, those who are devotees of Varahadev, they meditate on the Rupa of the boar. That Rupa is described here in the next verse, text 27, meditation on the Rupa of the Lord. Ukshiptavala khachara kathora sata vidunvan khararoma sattvak khurahatabhra sitadam sruta iksha jyotirbhavase bhagavan mahitraha.
Before entering the water to rescue the earth, Lord Boar flew in the sky, slashing his tail, his hard hair quivering. His very glance was luminous, and he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusks.
So Rupa is described. Just like Narasimha appeared, no? So his mane was touching the sky, and his teeth were like hard, and his nails were very sharp, and he has the face of a lion, body of a human, and he was very angry, like that. So Rupa of the Varahadev is being described here. So here are some of the transcendental features of the Lord. So it is understood that the body expanded throughout the sky, beginning from Brahmaloka to downward. Lord is described here as Mahidraha, means a big mountain or the sustainer of the earth. Lord's body was as big and as hard as the Himalayan mountain. Otherwise, how was it possible that he kept the entire earth on the support of the white tusk? The poet Jaidev, great devotee, sung of the incident in his prayer for the incarnation. Vasati dashana sikhare dharani tava lagna sasini kalanka kaleva nimagna keshavadhrita shukara rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare. So that is how Jaidev Goswami describing the pastime. Now next verse is describing his action, Leela Dhyan. And verse is confirming the Lord was really boar. Because when the Lord takes a form, he takes the whole mood of that form. He doesn't, he plays the role very well. Granena prathve padavim vijagrahan krodha padesha swayam advarangah karaladam stropi akarala dravyagam udviksha vipranganato vishatkam.
He was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hawk, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful, and he glanced over the devotee Brahmanas engaged in offering prayers. Thus, he entered the water.
So although Lord may come in any form, that form doesn't become abominable. It may be abominable for material consideration, but when the Lord appears in that form is also worshipable. Because Lord is Satchidanand, irrespective of any kind of shape he may take. Right? And he's all powerful, he's all knowing. All his six opulences are there in any form he takes. Right? Because opulences are with him. So when Lord appears in the form of a boar, that boar is more beautiful than the most beautiful Apsaras and Gandharvas and Devatas also in the world. Because he is the Lord. He maintains his quality of being beautiful in any of the form. Right? So that's why, although materially it may look like he took the form of Shukara Rupa, but this is Keshavadhrita Shukara Rupa. He's all beautiful even in that form. He's all powerful in that form. He's all knowing in that form. So although the body of a hog is material, the hog form of the Lord was not materially contaminated. Right? It is not possible for an earthly hog to assume a gigantic form. His body is always transcendental in all circumstances. Therefore, the assumption of the form of boar is only his pastime. He can take any form because he has created all the form. His body is all Vedas or transcendental, but since he had assumed the form of boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling just like a hog. The Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity. The gigantic feature of the boar was certainly very fearful for all non-devotees, But to the pure devotees of the Lord, he was not at all fearful. On the contrary, he was so pleasingly glancing upon his devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness. Virodha samanyam tasmin nachitram. That is Achinta Shakti of the Lord. Swabhaktanam Nirkeshwari Keshari Viva Swapotanam Anesham Ugra Vikrama. So others were fearful, but the devotees were pleased because he is the same Keshava. Keshava Dhrita Shukara Rupa. And then, because Lord had jumped in the ocean, the reaction of the ocean is being described in this particular verse. What the ocean felt. Read.
Diving into the water like a giant mountain, Lord Bore divided the middle of the ocean, and two high waves appeared, the arms of the ocean, which cried loudly as if praying to the Lord, O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me in two. Kindly give me protection.
Yeah. Even the great ocean was perturbed by the falling of the mountain-like body of the transcendental boar, but it appeared to be frightened as if death was imminent. So he fell. So two waves arose. And if you throw something in a pond, then it creates waves because the object makes its space. So ocean became perturbed and said, do not cut me into two, kindly give me protection. Yeah.
Lord Boar penetrated the water with his hooves, which were like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean. Although it was unlimited, he saw the earth, the resting place for all living beings, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it.
Yeah. So now the word rasayam has come, but it is not meant for rasatal. Because Earth is 7 times superior to other planetary systems. Tal, Atal, Talatal, Vital, Rasatal, Patal. Therefore, the Earth cannot be situated in the Rasatal planetary system. And Vishnu Dharma is being quoted. Patala Muleshwara Bhoga Sammuto Vinasya Pado Pratyam Chaviprata Yasyopamano Nababu Achyuto Mamam Tu Mangalya Vivutta Hari. Therefore, the Lord found the earth on the bottom of Garbhuta Koshin. That is the meaning of Rasayam. Online people will read it. Rasayam. So now the Lord jumped and he found the earth in the bottom of Garbhodak ocean. Next three verses are describing of Neelavara. This is Svetavara. He appeared, he jumped in the ocean to claim the earth. Now next three are describing Svetavara. Online who is there? Let me just see. Then we'll tell. Okay, whose video is on? Namayanand Prabhu, you read first, then we'll give chance to those who are not having the video on. Text 31. I will make it. Yeah. Okay, read, please.
Lord Boar very easily took the earth on his tusks and got it out of the water. Thus he appeared very splendid. Then his anger glowing like the Sudarshan wheel, he immediately killed the demon Hiranyaksha, although he tried to fight with the Lord.
So this became the reference. This became the reference for the next question which Vidura will ask, because the fight is mentioned. So in the first millennium, when the Svetavara appeared in Swayambhu Manu, that time there was no fight. The earth fell and it was reinstated. But in the sixth Manvanta, Chakshusha Manvantar, Hiranyaksha appeared, and then he was the one who put the earth into Garbhodak ocean, and that's why Lord had a fight with him. So Jiva Goswami explained there are two different devastations, namely Chakshusha and Swayambhuva. This actually took place in Swayambhuva when all the other planets merged in the order of devastation, and the particular incarnation of the boar was seen by the inhabitant of the planet mentioned above. Vishwanachakarya Thakur suggests that the sage Maitreya amalgamated both the boar incarnation in different devastations, summarized them in description to Vidura. Vedepi ekatvat varn. Okay, next one. Please read. Text 32. Namayanand, read.
Thereupon Lord Boar killed the demon within the water, just as a lion kills an elephant. The cheeks and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon, just as an elephant becomes reddish from digging the purple earth.
Yeah. So Lord killed the demon within the water, like a lion kills an elephant, and cheek and tongue of the Lord became smeared with the blood of the demon. It looks quite ghastly. We are vegetarian people. Blood on the cheek and tongue. But with the Lord, everything is divine. His killing is divine. His, forgiving is divine. And everything is sweet also. Not only divine, but it is transcendentally sweet. So the blood increases the beauty of the Lord. And the example is given, the elephant become reddish from digging in the purple earth. So here the thing is described here. Tamala Neelam Sitadanta Kotya Shamam Utikshpantam Gajalilayanga Pragyaya Baddhanjalayonuvakir Virinchi Mukhya Upatasthurisham.
Then the Lord, playing like an elephant, suspended the earth on the edge of his curved white tusks. He assumed a bluish complexion, like that of a tamal tree, and thus the sages headed by Brahma could understand him to be the supreme personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord.
So he assumed a bluish complexion because that is the color of the Supreme Lord. Or Narayan is also bluish black. Krishna is also bluish black. So then they could understand and they offer respectful obeisances unto the Lord. So Vishnu Chakravarti gives details of the form, time, reasons with references from Laghu Bhagavatamritam, half man, half Vara, that one. The inundation was similar both the time. This description from the earth being inundated Chaksha Manvantara. In the inundation of the earth during Swambhu rain, the inhabitant of Jan, Tapa and Satyalok praised the Lord for protecting the places of Mahalok, since the places of the inhabitant of three worlds were not present. During the conquest by Hiranyakashipu during the inundation in Chaksha Manvantara, the situation of the created being remained as before. Now, from text 34 to 45, there are 12 verses of prayers by Brahma and sages to Varadev, who is an embodiment of Yajna. Why? Why he is called Yajna personified or Vedas personified? Why is called Vedas personification of Vedas? Brahma inhaled what Krishna exhaled. Lord exhaled the Vedic knowledge, Brahma inhaled it, and then whatever comes out of the Brahma's nose is the personification of Vedic knowledge. So that is why he is considered to be Yajna. Okay, let us set the first verse, and then we'll go for it. Rishaya uchuhu jitam dicham te jita yagya bhavana trayim tanum swam paridhunvate namaha yadroma garteshu nililyor adhyas tasmai namah karana shukarayate.
All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar.
So Lord decides in what form he can best accomplish the purpose. So that is why he comes in the form of a boar, because it lifts Mother Earth. He has to go inside the ocean. So he has to be amphibian, just to match the mood. Imagine if he takes another form, lion form, and he goes inside the earth, people will think, lion to jata nahi hai. It's true. He can go as transcendental, he can do anything. But just to make things look very natural, he takes that form by which he can best accomplish the purpose. And still he remains fully transcendental. So he is Yajna Purusha, Bhokta Ram Yajna Tapasam. He is the personified of the Vedas. All the oceans are there in the hair holes of the body. So he took the form of a boar because he has to rescue Mother Earth and install it back. Prabhupada said, Lord can assume any form and he remains transcendental in all forms and all circumstances. He is always Supreme Person of God as he is in the causal ocean. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord because of assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary system. They are worshipping. And our process is Mahajano Yena Gatasa Pantha. We have to follow the Vatishtha Mahajan. So here Brahmaji is a Mahajan, he is worshipping. He is the greatest Brahmana. And all the other sages, Marichi and Narada and Four Kumara, they are worshipping. So we are also supposed to worship because this is not an ordinary boar. Ordinary boar may be considered abominable. He said that Tomara Pratishtha Shukare Ravi. Bhakti Maharaj says that that the disease of pratishtha, wanting pratishtha, is like trying to taste the stool of a boar. Boar means a wild pig, wild hog. Prabhupada also says dogs and hogs. So they are all abominable, but this is transcendental boar. The Lord coming in the form of boar to accomplish a purpose, and he remains totally transcendental, he remains totally worshipable by the devotees, because he is not touched by any material condition. That. Now in 4 verses, they will praise Lord Vara in the form of sacrifice. How is the sacrifice? That will be Rupam tavetan nanu duskritama Durdarshanam deva yad advarakmakam Chandamsi yasya tvachi barhiromas Ajyam drishito anigrahu chatrahotram.
O Lord,
Yeah, yeah.
O Lord, your form is worshipable by performance of sacrifice. But souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others are in touch of your skin. In your bodily hairs is the kusha grass, in your eyes is the clarified butter, and in your 4 legs are the 4 kinds of fruitive activities.
So Koshagras is considered to be the hair of Lord Varaha, transcendental, all purifying, just like Tulsi is considered. So similarly, during solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, Kushagras is kept into all the ingredients, they remain pure. And also for performing any sacrifice or any vidhi, it's mandatory to sit on the asana of Kushagras because it maintains the purity of the performance of the sacrifices. Prabhupada says there's a class of miscreants in the words of Bhagavad Gita called as Vedavadi, so-called strict follow Vedas, but they do not believe in the incarnation of the Lord. What to speak of the Lord's incarnation as the worshipable hog? They describe worship of the different forms of incarnation of the Lord as anthropomorphism. And in the estimation of Bhagavatam, these men are miscreant, and in Bhagavad Gita, they are called not only miscreant but also fools and the lowest of mankind. For such condemned person, the Lord's incarnation as the gigantic hog is invisible. These strict followers of the Vedas who despise the eternal form of the Lord may know from Srimad Bhagavatam that such incarnation are personified form of the Vedas. Lord boars his skin, eyes, and his bodily hair also are all described here as different part of the Vedas. And therefore, the personified form of the Vedic hymn and especially the Gayatri mantra. Okay, next one. Somebody else can read. Who is there? Let me see. Next 5 verses you read, okay?
Prabhuji,
Yeah. You're sitting, you're traveling lower, na? You're traveling earlier now, you're sitting here.
yes, Prabhuji. Actually, wo teacher might call anytime. I'll read, Prabhuji, till the time teacher is. I'm in school, that's why, Prabhuji. Sorry, in contest. I'll read, Prabhuji, till the time teacher will call me.
Now, are you able to read or not?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes,
Okay.
now I'll read.
Okay, text 36 you read.
Prabhuji, it's scrolling down. Oh Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostrils is another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is the eating plate of sacrifice, and another plate of sacrifice is the holes of your ears. In your mouth is the Brahma plate of sacrifice. Your throat is the plate of sacrifice known as Soma, and whatever you chew is known as Agnihotra.
These are all plate of sacrifice because Rishikesha Sevanam. So Lord's senses are plates of sacrifice. They are to be satisfied. It's like sacrifice we do swaha, na? We take ahuti and put in the fire. So similarly, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. All the gyanendriyas which are there, they are considered the plate of sacrifice. They should be satisfied by the sacrifice. So Lord tongue should be satisfied by bhoga, nostril should be satisfied by aroma, belly should be satisfied by bhoga, holes of ears should be sacrificed by kirtan, mouth should be mouth should be satisfied by hearing his vani, and throat. So that is why all the Lord's senses should be satisfied by our activities. Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Vedavadis say they are nothing more than the Vedas and the performance of the sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They have recently made a rule in their group to formally observe daily sacrifice. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically, but they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas. So there are people I think Gayatri Parivar and Arya Samajis, they do yajna every day. They have a small yajna kund, mini yajna kund, and they put some wood in that or paper in that, and they do some mantras and put some ahuti in that. That they consider very great. They don't believe in the Lord, in the form of the Lord, but they do yajna. So it is not a successful thing. And then it is understood that by regulation there are different plates of sacrifice required, such as Shrak, Shruva, Barhis, Chaturhotra, Ida, Chamsa, Prasitra, Graha, and Agnihotra. One cannot achieve the result of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulation. In this age, there is practically no facility for performing sacrifice and strict discipline. Therefore, in this age, there is a stricture regarding such sacrifices. It is explicitly directed that one should perform only Sankirtan Yajna and nothing more. Lord is Yajneshwar, he becomes satisfied by Sankirtan Yajna. Different plates of sacrifice correspond to the different parts of the body of Lord's incarnation. In the 11th canto, it is explicitly directed one should perform Sankirtan Yajna to please the Lord's incarnation. This should be rigidly followed in order to achieve the result of Yajna performance. Okay, next one, please read.
Moreover, O Lord, the repetition of your appearance is the desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is the place for three desires, and your tusks are the result of initiation and the end of all desires. Your tongue is the prior activities of initiation. Your head is the fire without sacrifice as well as the fire of worship. And your living forces are the aggregate of all desires.
No purport here. Next one.
O Lord, your semen is the sacrifice called Soma Yajna. Your growth is the ritualistic performance of the morning. Your skin and touch sensation are the 7 elements of the Agni Stoma sacrifice. Your bodily joints are symbols of various other sacrifices performed in the 12 days. Therefore, you are the object of all sacrifices called Soma and Asoma, and you are bound by Yajnas only.
So 7 kind of routine yajnas are there. Agnistoma, Atyagnisthoma, Utkata, Sodasi, Vajapeya, Atirata, and Aptoreyama. Anyone performing such yajnas regularly is supposed to be situated with the Lord. But anyone who is in contact with the Supreme Lord by discharging devotion service is understood to have performed all different varieties of yajna. So this is the essence. He is Yajna Purusha, but the best way to satisfy Varadev is to perform the Sankirtan Yajna, to chant and dance. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is avatari, is not the avatar. So in Mahaprabhu's Leela, he manifests all the different incarnations which are taken in different times. Like on the time of Dashera, he takes the mood of Hanuman sometimes. Sometimes he takes the mood of Ramchandra. And when there were demons troubling and Srivas Thakur was afraid, then Lord took the form of Narasimhadev. So similarly, once he came to Murari Gupta's house and he manifested his Varaha form. And he took a pot which was there as if he considered as the Bhumi Devi. And then he roamed around with that pot on his nose. He was roaming around. He manifested Varaha form. Devotees could see it. And then he asked Murari to offer prayers. So then Murari Gupta offers beautiful prayers, very similar about Yajna. They are there in Chaitanya Bhagavad. These prayers are there, which Murari Gupta is offering to Varaha form of the Lord. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is avatari. Sab avatar, Sara Shromani Kevala Anandagandha. That is why when we satisfy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all other incarnations also are fully satisfied. Not only demigods are satisfied, all other incarnations of the Lord are also fully satisfied because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Prem Avatar. Krishna is Purna Purushottam and Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Prem Purushottam. So by satisfying Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all other incarnations also get fully satisfied. So Mahaprabhu took that Varaha form and Murari Gupta offered beautiful prayers and Murari Gupta engaged in doing Sankirtan. So same thing Prabhupada says that anyone who is in contact with the Supreme Lord by discharging devotional service is understood to have performed all different varieties of yajnas. Yajna going on outside. So now summarizing what they have said, 4 verses they have offered, prayers of how Lord is having the form of the yajna. Now they're offering respect to Lord Baladev in the next verse. Vidya Guruve Namaha. You should give us knowledge by which we can attain you. Namo Namaste Akhil Mantra Devata Dravyaya Sarvakritave Kriyatmane Vairagya Bhaktyatmajayanubhavita Jnanaya Vidya Guruve Namo Namaha. Pado Praji.
O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers, Vedic hymns, and sacrificial ingredients. We offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, freed from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you as the Supreme Spiritual Master of Knowledge in devotional service.
Vidya Guruve Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to one who gives knowledge. Prabhupada said the qualification of bhakti is that the devotee should be free from all material contamination and desires. What is that verse in Gita? What is the verse in Gita where he says that one should be freed from all this sinful?
Antagata papam.
Tesham antagata papam janana punya karmana ye dvanda mohanata bhajante mam Dृढ़ bhakti arises when Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmana. So that is why he says this is a qualification. This freedom is called vairagya. One who engages in devotion service to the Lord according to agreed principle is automatically freed from material desire. So one may be free and engage in devotional service, or one may engage in devotional service and become freed. Devotion service is that power that even if somebody is attached, but it takes to the process, then immediately it purifies the person. And one Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad. Prabhu, this is too. You can't do much about it, but I'm just expressing that I get distracted because will they listen? No, leave it, and sometimes they will quite. They speak, increase the volume of the sound otherwise. Somehow I'm a little extra sensitive. I forget what I have to speak and I have to say. So Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajita Janayatyashu Vairagyam. Janayatyashu Vairagyam. If you engage in Vasudeva Bhagavati, then Janayatyashu, immediately the Vairagya and Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam, they are produced. They are given birth to that. So there may be some little Vairagya to practice Bhakti, but actually Bhakti brings about Vairagya by itself. Why it happens like that? Because in Bhakti one understands that I am a servitor of the Lord. To serve the Lord, serve the devotee is the only goal of my life. So he becomes detached from everything else. What is not required for service, he has no attraction for that. So that's how Bhakti brings about Vairagya. So one who engages in devotional service is become automatically fit for material desires, and in that pure state of mind one can realize the personality of Godhead. Personality of Godhead is situated in the heart and instruct the devotee regarding pure devotional service so that he may ultimately achieve the association of the Lord. And then Prabhupada quotes this, Tesham Satatayuktanam. One has to conquer the mind, and one may do it by following the Vedic rituals and by performing different types of sacrifice. Ultimate end of all those performances is to attain bhakti or the devotional service of the Lord. Without bhakti, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the verse? Without bhakti, one cannot understand. Bhaktyamam Vijan. Only by bhakti I can be known, not by any other process. So here it says about how by bhakti Lord can be known. And now the next verse, text 40, it expresses the good fortune of Mother Earth. Nam sagra kotya bhagvam swaya dhrita virajate bhudhara bhusu bhudara yathavanannih sharto data dhrita matan gajendrasya sapatra padmini. Okay, next one, somebody read. Who is there?
O lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted with your tusk, is situated as beautifully as a lotus flower, with leaves sustained by an infuriated elephant, just coming out of the water.
So here, fortune of the earth, and how the earth is becoming beautified by being picked up by Lord Varadev is being described. Prabhupada used to say that the living entity, is considered like gold because pure. And Lord is like the diamond. And the diamond sits in the golden ring, then the whole thing becomes very beautiful. The ring becomes beautified by the diamond, and the diamond becomes held by the ring. So similarly, when one practices pure devotional service, one becomes a devotee, then the combination is very beautiful. The devotee serves the Lord, and the Lord protects the devotee. So here, the fortune of the earth is praised because it's being specifically sustained by the Lord. Beauty is appreciated compared to that of a lotus flower situated on the trunk of an elephant. Who lifted lotus flower and offered to Lord? Gajendra. As a lotus flower with leaves is very beautiful situation, so the world with its many beautiful mountains appeared on the tusk of the Lord pole. So it's a beautiful sight when you can imagine if somebody is lifting Earth planet, how big the personality must be if he's just on a tusk. He is lifting Mother Earth. So how will be the size of Lord Varadev? Huge. And the next verse says that just as the earth appears beautiful when held by you, you appear beautiful when embraced by your devotee also. So when devotee and the Lord are beautiful, are together, they both become beautiful. Traymayam rupamidam cha saukaram bhumandale nath data dhatena te chakasti shuro ghanena bhuyasa kula chalendrasya yatheva vibramaha. Pado.
O Lord, as the peaks of great mountains become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has become beautiful because of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusk.
Yeah. So word Vibrahma means illusion as well as beauty. So when a cloud rests on the peak of a great mountain, it appears to be sustained by the mountain. At the same time, it looks very beautiful. So it can be seen. If you go to Farm Villa also nowadays, you can see the mountain being covered by the clouds. That can be visibly seen. They look very beautiful. People go to see that and click photographs. Yeah. Similarly, the Lord has no need to sustain the earth on his trust, but when he does so, the world becomes beautiful, just as the Lord becomes more beautiful because of his pure devotees on the earth. Although the Lord is transcendental personification of the Vedic hymn, he has become more beautiful because of the appearance to sustain the earth. So both the Mother Earth is considered beautiful because Lord is lifting her, and Lord is considered beautiful because Mother Earth is resting on that. And different analogies are given. For Mother Earth look beautiful, she is compared to a lotus flower on the tusk of an elephant. And for Lord to be beautiful, it is that the clouds are making the mountain look more beautiful. So two different analogies are given here. And then in the next verse, Lord is asking, okay, please tell me what you desire, because you're offering prayer. So what do you desire? And they said, they fix the earth, your wife, the mother of the universe, in order to provide a place for the beings to live, lokaya, because you are the father. Okay, text 42. संस्थापयेनां जगतां सतस्तुसां लोकाय पत्नीम् असिमातरं पिता विधेम चास्ये नमसा सह त्वया यस्यां स्वतेजो अग्निमिवारणवधा.
O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non-moving, this earth is your wife, and you are the Supreme Father. We offer our respectful obeisance unto you, along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency, just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the arani wood.
Yeah. So Bhumi Devi is one of the seven mothers. In fact, she is the original mother because even if there are other mothers like Dhatri and Gomata and Rajapatni, Brahmanapatni, they all are sustained by this mother. Bhumi Devi will not have, like cow is a mother, she gives milk, but where does she get grass? Bhumi Devi. Now, own mother, she eats food, she gives birth to a child, but where does she eat from? So Bhumi Devi sustains all other six mothers. And then they're also mothers because they take care of the child. But Bhumi Devi is the original mother, and Bhumi Devi is the mother, then father is? Who is the father? Lord Narayan is the father. Because Bhudevi, Sri Devi both are there, no? In our Balaji also you can see Bhudevi is there. So he's the father. So that's why they're saying that you again invest your potency and then again place Mother Earth in the orbit. Prabhupada says the so-called law of gravitation sustains the planet is described herein as the potency of the Lord. This is invested by the Lord in the same way an expert sacrificial Brahmana put fire in the Arani wood by the potency of Vedic mantra. This conception of the Lord as Lord and the earth as Father and Mother is explained in Bhagavad Gita 14.4 also. 14.4 is which verse? Aham bija pradapita. Sarvyonishu konteya murtaya sambhavanti tesham aham brahma aham bija pradapitaya. Condition souls are devoted to the motherland in which they take their birth, but they do not know their father. The mother is not independent in producing children. Similarly, material nature cannot produce anything unless in touch with the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to offer obeisances unto the mother along with the father, the Supreme Lord, because it is the father only who impregnates the mother with all energies for the sustenance and maintenance of all living beings, both moving and non. And then the sages are glorifying pastime, which is hard for others to understand. Okay, read the verse, Prabhu.
Else, but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water. It is not very wonderful for you. However, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe, by your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation.
Yeah, so they're glorifying the Lord for doing this wonderful service, which Brahmaji could not figure out how to do. He only prayed. And by the prayer, Lord appeared and did everything. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of the people, the common man accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But the intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. A common man is also struck with wonder by material nature and gives all credit to cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation is the brain of Krishna, Maya, Adhyakshana, Prakriti, Suyate, Sa, Characharam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of boar and thus deliver the earth from the mire of the water. A devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boar because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by his potencies which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientist. So a devotee is not wondered because he knows the Lord is all wonderful and he has Achintya Shakti, so he can do Kartam, Akartam, Sarvata, Kartum. Whatever can be doable, what cannot be doable for a conditioned person, Lord can do everything. So, yeah. And one should learn to see that even the whatever scientific advancement are there, they will not happen unless the Lord has made the basic system. For example, if silicon is not there, can gadgets work? Can gadgets work? No. If silicon is not there, man did not create silicon. Silicon has its inbuilt property. Who created that property? Right? Who created? Somebody created that property, no? Like mobile, SIM is there, then you can call. But SIM is created by someone. No? Without SIM mobile, you can't call. So SIM is created by someone that you can put it and call it. Similarly, the silicon, if silicon is not there, nothing will work. No semiconductor devices work, nothing, no, this communication modes will not work. Right? If the electromagnetism is not there, that when you revolve something in the magnetic field, it creates electricity, nothing will happen. If it doesn't create North Pole, South Pole, the original magnet is Earth itself. Correct or not? The original magnet is Earth itself. No? There's a North Pole and South Pole. And that's why when you put a compass, it indicates the North Pole. Correct? Huh? So original magnet is there in the Earth itself. Then there is an ionosphere. Above atmosphere, there is a ionosphere. The stratosphere, ionosphere is there. If ionosphere is not there, can the signal go and come back? No. So even if we see that so much technological things are happening, we have to know the foundation of all the technological development is the law which is already made by the Lord. Scientists find it out and try to do something. As the scientists find it out, how do they find it out? Does the scientist ascend from the top? Do they drop from the top on their own? I have come. No. They themselves are created by the arrangement of the Lord. A man and a woman combine together and a zygote is formed. The scientist himself does not know how his body and mind and intelligence was formed. Correct? And with that brain he uses and says there is no God. Such as Ascardam. See? The scientist himself does not know how he was created within the womb of his mother. He does not know how his brain is working. He does not know how his bodily parts are working. But still he is so rascal that he says God is not there. Even though God has created him. So ultimately, if we see that there are many things which are happening with the misuse of the free will of the jiva. But ultimately that paradigm of the misuse of the free will is also created by the Lord. But Lord is not responsible for that. Just like the company creates a car and says you can go up to 200 km per hour. The engine is sufficient, right? And then the driver is there. If the driver drives it at 150 km per hour where the speed limit is 80 km per hour, who is responsible? Car. The company who made the car. If the car is not only there then, he will say, na rahega car, na main chalaunga. So, right? No, the company is not harassed. The company is not harassed. The car is not beaten up. The driver is caught. Because he is supposed to work according to law. So, yes, whatever good or bad is happening in this world, that paradigm is created by the Lord only. Without that, it will not happen. If nuclear bomb or the ammunitions and this and that all intelligence came from Lord only. Buddhir buddhimatam asmi. But that discrimination of how to use it, that is the free will of the jiva. And that is what jiva is responsible for. It can be rightly used, it can be wrongly used. But the creation is happening by the arrangement of the Lord only. If the Lord doesn't arrange only, nothing will happen. Just a few adjustments, na? No ionosphere, no stratosphere, no magnetic earth, no silicon, no germanium. And we will still live in the age of bullock carts only. Right? But Lord arranges it, but we are responsible for the usage of our free will. In this world, everything is there. There may be mobiles, there may be, internet, there may be social media, but how do we use it? That's our choice. And we are held responsible for our choices, not for the external objects what are around. So now they say that the Lord is sprinkling the water from his body. Just like after Pujari, after Argyam, he sprinkled the water in the morning. So they are considering it as great mercy. That goes to show that Lord is transcendental. Otherwise, if an ordinary hog does something, then one has to take bath. But here they are considering themselves to be purified by the water which is emerging from the holes here of the Lord body. It is astonishing for us that on pretext of earth falling in water, you have been merciful to us by giving the nectar of water touching your body, whose drop reach us. Just that water. Argyam, na? We offer to the Lord, Diti, or Charanamrit. We drink it with the water which has bathed the Lord. Okay. Please read the translation of 44.
O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapas, and Satyalokas, but still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body.
Okay. So, on the pretext of giving mercy to earth, they are considering it as a great mercy that they themselves got touched by the water which is coming from the shoulder hairs of the Lord and shook the body. And Prabhupada says, ordinarily the body of a hog is impure, but one should not consider that hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. The inhabitant of the Jana, Tapa and Satyaloka are most pious person. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. So when the drops of water from the tips of Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitant of high planets, they felt purified. Ganges water is pure because it emanates from the toe of the Lord. No difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of Lord. They're both absolutely transcendental. And then he says, how much can we describe your pastime? Though we have knowledge, we do not know completely even a drop of ocean of your pastime. Others are even more unfortunate. So we are Janalok, Tapalok, Maharlok Vasi. Still, we don't know a little bit of your pastime. But others are even more unfortunate. Actually, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said, what can I say about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Even Ananta, with his thousands of mouths describing for millenniums, he cannot describe what Mahaprabhu does in one moment. So what can I describe Mahaprabhu's pastime? Like that he says. Savaivata brashtamatistavaiste ya karmanam param para karmana yad yoga maya guna yoga mohita vishwam samastam bhagavan videhisam. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, you read. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Oh.
O Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly nonsensical. If everyone in this world is conditioned by your powerful mystic potencies, please bestow your causeless mercy upon these conditioned souls.
Yeah, so Lord's wonderful activities, Adbhut Karmana, cannot be known. And somebody want to know the limit is certainly nonsensical. It's not possible. Because they are all controlled by the powerful mystic potency. So Prabhupada says that mental speculator want to understand the limit of the unlimited and certainly nonsensical. They are all captivated by the external potency of the Lord. Best thing for them is to surrender unto Him, knowing Him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive the causeless mercy. So this is important. We cannot decipher the plan of the Lord all the time in our lives. But we have to be prepared to surrender to that plan. Everything will not be like logically this happened, after 1 year this will happen, 2 years this will happen. We don't know. But when something comes in life, we should know that Lord is arranging that. And we should do what best we can do in that situation by consulting our superiors and contemplating and understanding the scriptural injunctions. This prayer was offered by the inhabitant of the higher planetary system, who are far more intelligent and powerful than human beings. Vishwam Samastam means both material world and the spiritual world. The sages pray, both material and spiritual world are bewildered by your energies. In the spiritual world, absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves, and you also forget yourself. In the material world, also absorbed in material sense gratification, therefore forgetting. Both places will forget the Lord. No one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculation. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with causeless devotional service. Our process is not to know the Lord, our process is to love the Lord. But in the process of loving the Lord, because we have intellectual distractions, so we also need to know the Lord for our intellectual satisfaction. Otherwise, if we can love the Lord directly, there's nothing bad in that. We'll attain perfection. Now, Maitreya is saying, the Lord being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists touched the earth with his hooves and placed it on the water. It was on the tusk, so he touched with the hooves and then, and Prabhupada says that earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. Lord is all powerful. Tiny human brain cannot conceive how this potency of the Lord can act. Man can give such vague explanation of the laws, but actually the human brain is unable to conceive the activities of the Lord. Therefore, they are called inconceivable. Yet the frog philosophers still try to give some imaginary explanation. Ye Shakti hai, yahan se aisa hua. What is that they call it? The blast. Big Bang happened, everything got fragmented, white dwarf came, red star came, white star came. They all concoct so many imaginary things, but actually it is unconscious. Okay, read this.
In this manner, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of all living entities, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode.
Yeah. So he kept it on the water because earth is there, no? It's there on the sagar. That salt water is all around. So it is there on water. So it's kept on that. And then he descended to his own abode. That you will read more in the fifth canto. Pavaneshwar Prabhu takes where is earth located, earth, Jambudvipa, Meru Parvat, all those things. So he's avatari, he descends and then he performs the Leela and then he goes back. So he's an avatar means one who descends. And then again, in the next three verses, beginning it was the glories of hearing, and now in the last three verses again, the glory of Harikatha Shravanam with pure intention. See, Katha is there, but we get the benefit of Katha by hearing it in the right mood. So beginning also Vidura is glorified, and now again three verses for glorifying the Harikatha Shravanam. Saevametam Harimeda Sohar Katha Subhadram Kathaniya Mayana Shanavita Bhaktya Shravayeta Vorshati Janardano Yashashru Hridi Prasidati. पढ़ो.
And if one hears and describes a devotional service, attitude, service attitude, these auspicious narrations of Lord bore, which is worthy of description. The Lord The
Yeah.
Lord, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased.
Yeah. So very important words are there. Hari Medaso Hari. Hari Medaso Hari. So it means one who is determined to destroy the material existence of that devotee. Hari Medaso Hari. And Shravita Bhaktya, Shraveta Voshatim, you know, hears with devotion, also allows others to hear. And Voshitam Janardano Ashashu Hridhi Prasitati. So one who hears Katha, he pleases the Lord. One who makes arrangement for others to hear the Katha, he also pleases the Lord. Both. One who hears submissively and makes arrangement for hearing, both pleases the Lord. An intelligent person should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narration of the Lord's activities, and for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. The Lord comes to this earth out of his causeless mercy only, and leaves behind his merciful activities so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit. So Mother Kunti in her prayers, she's saying why the Lord appears. Did Vasudeva pray, that's why he appeared, or he has to get the earth rid of all the demons, that's why he appeared. But finally she say, the Lord appears only to perform the loving pastime with his devotees. So, and leave behind this pastime so that future generations can hear this pastime and can also attain love for the Lord. In 10th canto, in the second chapter, the demigods are praying about the boat. The Lord Lotus feet is like the boat. And one can cross over the Bhavsagar by riding in that boat. But the boat still remains in side of the ocean. The boat doesn't go. So they give a long explanation. And that boat is what? That Shravanam Kirtanam of the Lord's pastime is a boat. When we do that, the entire material existence seems to be like a calf's hoof print. There's water in that. Then one can easily cross it. The opportunity to hear and chant still remains. That is the boat. As soon as you sit in the boat, the ocean only becomes so small. You don't have to use the boat, then you cross across. And Shravanam Kirtanam is an eternal activity. It is not the means. It is the means and the goal. In the beginning, it is the means to attain love for Godhead. And when we attain love for Godhead, the same Shravanam and Kirtan becomes an expression of our love for Godhead. Just like we do Shravanam Kirtan as a matter of regulative principle. Sola mara karna hi hai, Bhagavatam class sunna hi hai. Otherwise, our mind will do so many other things. But that purifies us. And when the love for Lord really awakens, that we don't do anything other than hearing, chanting on. In the spiritual world, Katha Ganam, Natyam, Vamshi Api Priya Sakhi, they're all doing Shravanam Kirtanam only. The Gopas are singing the glories, and the Gopis are hearing, the Gopis are making plans, they are talking to each other, the Sukha and Sari, they are talking to each other. Everyone is just, what is that? Then 10.9, what is it? Mat Chitta Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam. Bodhayanta Parasparam is only going. The whole spiritual world. Everything is centered around that. When the Devi is making all arrangement for that. So one who hears oneself and causes others to hear, for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. And that's why the people who make facility to hear for others, they are called Bhuridajana. Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kave Bhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvigrananti Ye Bhurida Jana. So one who creates an opportunity for hearing for others is Bhurida Jana. And Prabhupada says all the temple and our institution is simply created to give the conditioned soul an opportunity to hear in the association of devotees. Hear from the right source in the right atmosphere. Then it works. Shravanam is the medicine which is injected through the ear and then it transforms. Okay. And then he says further, Maitreya Muni is saying, by pleasing the Lord, what is difficult to attain become easy to attain, then what is the use of such benediction? They are insignificant. Lavat pipi. Tasmin prasanne sakala shisham prabho kim durlabham tabirlam lavatmi bhi. Ananya drushtya bhajatam guhashaya swayam vidatte swagatim parah param. Jagdishwar Mohanpur padho.
Nothing remains unachieved when Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with someone. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord Himself, who is seated in everyone's heart.
Yeah, very important verses these are. Oh, somebody is pleased the Lord. Nothing remains unachievable for him. Like Dhruva, he pleased the Lord. He achieved everything. He achieved a planet more than Brahma's planet, right? But one who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to highest perfect stage, and then he doesn't want anything. In that stage, Kavalyam Narakayate, Vidhi Mahindra Kitashate. Nothing remains. And that stage the devotee only prays Nanaka Prishto Nachaparameshtyam Nasarvabhaumam Narasadhipatyam Na Yoga Siddhir Apunarbhavam Va Samanjashvasta Virahaya Kankshati. Whose prayer? Vritasur prayer. Na Nakaprishtam. I do not want to become Nakaprishtam. I don't want to become Brahma or Shiva. Na Sarval Bhaumam. Neither I want sovereignty over all the planets. So that happens when one actually pleases the Lord. When the love for the Lord awakens in the heart of a devotee, then the whole material world becomes totally insignificant, even to the level of merging into Brahman. Kavalyam Narakayate. Even the post of Vidhi Mahindra Kitashate, they look like small insect. Vidhi Mahindra so much. I mean, people want to go to heaven. People want to go to Kashmir and Darjeeling, then to Switzerland, and then to, heavenly planet. Vidhi Mahindra Kitashate, they become like insects. So that is the effect of pure devotion service. For such a devotee, there is nothing valuable to achieve but the Lord's service. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration. If one serves faithfully, there is no possibility of frustration. Prabhupada's words are very, very significant. Every word. When we are frustrated, that means our service is motivated perhaps. We are becoming fruitive. If one serves faithfully, then no question of frustration. Prabhupada suffered so many setbacks. Who among us can suffer so many setbacks and still continue to enthusiastically do? His family member did not support, his godbrother did not support, the government did not support, the businessman did not support, the politician did not support. He got some place in Jhansi and he was literally removed from that place. In Delhi, he was trying to distribute British magazine. He was hit by a cow. Paramatma and the cow there. Still he was hurt. He got a heat stroke. What was farewell for him? His family member did not support his 3 sons. They did not support him in materially also. They did not came to take part in business also. But he was serving faithfully and he was never frustrated. Because the Lord himself takes charge of the devotee's advancement. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart and he knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. He understands the motive. Our motive is not to achieve something, our motive is to please the Lord. It is not about achievement, it is about pleasing the Lord. In other words, the pseudo devotee who is anxious to achieve material gains cannot attain the highest perfection stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. You have to benefit the audience or you have to get the subscribers. Like, share, subscribe. These days, very common thing. So we have to have motive. We want to do a big program to impress and to click photographs and post on our status, or we want to look out for one sincere soul whom is willing to accept Krishna consciousness wholeheartedly. So in an institution, the externals being appreciated, there's a very strong chance of even genuine people who came looking for some kind of spirituality may get carried away by there because of pressure, institutional pressure and trying to impress others. So one has to be very, very careful to keep the main thing, and to be very much aware that whatever I'm doing is for the purpose of pleasing the Lord. It's not for achieving something, it's for pleasing the Lord, pleasing the Guru. And a very important part of pleasing is our own behavior, is our own sadhana, is our own interaction with other devotees, our own motivations. So achievement will come and go, but motivations, our attitude, our sadachar, that is our property. And the gurus, they are always telling us they will not exactly tell us what to do to please them, but they definitely tell us how to do things and how to live with devotees to please them. They will always talk about sadachar and sadhana. Because seva is something which is locally decided. So they may not say, beta, tum 4 baje backup karo or 8 baje harinam mein jao. That much no guru will tell. But they will definitely say, japa ध्यान पूर्वक करो, regulative principle strictly follow करो, भक्तों के साथ झगड़ा मत करो, भक्तों की सेवा करो. Like that they will tell. So they will always tell how to do things and how to serve devotees. We will not tell exact service because it's not practically possible. So Prabhupada writes here, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart and he knows the devotee's motive and arranges everything achievable. In other words, the pseudo devotee who is anxious to achieve says your battery is low. It doesn't say laptop battery, so your battery. He has assumed that I'm identifying with the laptop fully. Your battery is low. Pseudo devotee is anxious to achieve material gains, cannot attain the highest perfection stage because the Lord is in knowledge of his motive. Lord sees from inside out. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose, and then the Lord is there to help in every way. And that reminds me of Haldar Maharaj's formula. Pure desire, sure success. Four-word formula, but it is like so amazing. You heard of it? Pure desire, sure success. Nothing matters. Where you are, what you do, which service and voice or temple or yoga or bhoga or farm community or book distribution. And this authority or that authority directly with Guru or indirectly with Guru or white or yellow, saffron or red or whatever else. Pure desire, sure success. Same thing. One merely has to become sincere in his purpose. One has to decide, my dear Lord, I want to serve you. I want to serve your lotus feet. I want to serve your devotees. I want to please you. And then the Lord is there to help us in every way. Faithfully means no desire for fame. 6 things. No F. 6F. No fame. No desire for fame, facility, fruits, followership, favors, and freedom. So, though the Lord bestows all results, the highest result of his mercy is described. Swagati means realization of his spiritual form. The Lord manifests the beauty of his form. And that beauty attracts us from everything else. When it talks about raso varjam raso pasya, param drishtva nivartate. That param drishtva nivartate means that Lord reveals his beauty. And when one get attracted by the beauty of the Lord, one forgets everything else. The example is Dhanurdas. When he saw the beautiful eyes of Lord Ranganath, then his attraction for that Hidimba, that society girl, this was done. Right? And the gopis are always attracted by the beauty of the Lord. So Lord gives a realization of his spiritual form. Last one. Ko namaloke purushartha saravit pura katha nam bhagavad katha sudham apiye karna jalbir bhavapaham aho virajyet vina naretaram. पढ़ो जगदीश मोहन
Who other than one who is not human world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? Who can refuse the nectar of narrations about the personality of Godhead's activities, which by itself can deliver one from all material pangs?
See? Nectar of narration which can deliver one from all material pain. Who other than who is not a human being can exist? So it's challenging that Karna Anjalabhi by oral reception. Anjalabhi means this, like this, Anjalabhi. And Karna means the ear have become like this. Bhava Apaham, which can kill all the material pangs. Today we are hearing about Bhava. Aho Virajyet Vina Naraitaram. Other than human being. The one who rejected is not a human being. It's such a beautiful verse. Narration of the activities of the personality of Godhead is like a constant flow of nectar. Tava Katha Amrita. No one can refuse to drink such nectar except one who is not a human being. And the Parikshit Maharaj also said, Nivrata Tarshya Rupagi Manam Bhava Ashada Shrota Mano Bhi Amat. Very similar to this verse. Devotional service is the highest goal and it begins by hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord. Only an animal or a man who is almost animal in behavior can refuse to take an interest in hearing the transcendental message of the Lord. One who is serious about eliminating material existence must chant and hear of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, one must be compared to the non-humans. And purport of 2317 Prabhupada, right? As a highly potent drug injected intravenously acts as once on the whole body. When one cannot take tablet and injection and capsule, then intravenous is put. Similarly, the transcendental topics of the Lord injected through the ear by the pure devotee of the Lord can act very efficiently. Oral realization of the transcendental mind implies total realization. Just as fructification of one part of a tree implies fructification of all other parts, the realization of a moment in the association of pure devotee like Sukadeva Goswami prepare one's complete life for eternity. So, Shravanam, Mananam, Nitidhyasanam, that is complete hearing. It's a package. It's not just Shravanam means, okay, class में बैठ गए. No, class में बैठे, अभी क्लास में जो सुना उसका श्रवण what we heard, at least 1 point, 2 point. Radha Shampoo at the end of the camp asked, एक point तो बताओ भाई, 2 घंटा बैठे तो एक point तो बताओ क्या समझा, नहीं तो कभी कभी 2 घंटे ही बाउंसर हो जाता है. So you'll ask 1 point at least you carry home. And Nidhi Dhyasana means how can I apply it? How can I modify my life and my lifestyle, my behavior, my thought process according to that? Thus ends the Bhakti on the purport of the third canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha. Thus ends our session for today. I am sorry I could not keep any time for discussion or questions, sir, because I was rushing through 50 verses as a long, long chapter, that too with prayers and many other things. So, actually, there are 5 chapters, 1 chapter each day. Usually, there's a 4th chapter. I try to cover 1 chapter one day in one relaxed way. But we will see. I will see. I have no plan. I'm not a very. I don't have a, like a, what is it? TTC1 you all have done, no? TTC1. TTC1. Okay. They say, no, you have to write a lesson plan, introduction for 5 minutes, and then content for 10 minutes, and then conclusion. So, I did TTC, but I could not apply it any time in my life on a very practical level. But tomorrow we'll meet again, and this section is very, very interesting. Pregnancy of the Diti in the evening, that is the session. That's why we're reading in the morning. Evening time is a little difficult for that. So tomorrow we'll meet, and tomorrow we'll meet at 10:45. Because Lord Jagannath will come today, so no schedule tomorrow as usual, 10:45 to 2 p.m. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, and thank God. 50 verses one day is an achievement for me also. So I feel I could do it in time. I was planning till 1, but then these last 3 verses, now they're so good that I felt I should spend some time in discussing. Extremely good. Chalo, Karuna Sindhu bro.